Hello. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? I have overtime, so I'll be lurking for 45 more minutes. Currently, I'm bathroom, clock out in 30 minutes to 15 to get home. Nice. Can't wait. Let's try this song this time. Maybe just rain sounds, something like that. That's better, right? Okay, here we go. 1 second, guys. My day has been pretty good. I woke up like an hour ago, so if I sound crusty, that's why. Let me get the chapter up as well. 1 second, guys. Ebook. I opened like 2 of them. Nice. Here we go. 239, right? Each having their own gathering is a title, by the way. Oh, again, 2 of them. Here we go. Anyway, we had an amazing Tarot Club meeting last time. Let me start recording as well. We had the most information-backed Tarot Club meeting last time. There was so much info, I couldn't believe it. So hopefully every single Tarot Club meeting is gonna be like that. We wrote down a lot of stuff, we made a lot of theories. So yeah, let's jump into chapter 239. Let me pull up my theories as well. 1 second. Theories. Hello everyone. Hopefully we can add more here. So I can already like check some stuff off, like where was it? Klein is gonna make his own like detective company. Anyway, I think I already like deleted that. Praise the chat, exactly. Okay, let me drink some water and then we get started. I woke up like an hour ago, so having their own gathering. Well, I don't need any more, but I can give it to Susie and I can exchange it for other beyond the ingredients. Well, Susie's potion is still short of the spinal fluid from a Farsman rabbit. Yeah, I mean, what if like Susie digesting the spectator potion and also like actually like, you know, becoming a spectator was a fluke. It's like a one-time thing. If you give like the sequence 8 potion to her, she's gonna lose control. Some things are easier left to Susie. It's far more convenient for her than for me. Every famous detective needs a good assistant. Haha, Audrey quickly made her decision. To her, this was no longer something she particularly cared about. That's so funny, dude. As she put down the telegram, her pleasure subsided and the worries of reality began to emerge. I still owe Mr. Fool intelligence regarding the secret order, the mission to assassinate the Intis ambassador, and the request from Miss Blessed. I have finally experienced the feeling of being riddled in debt. Audrey, we can't delay any longer. Let's start. The girl quietly clenched her fist. She wanted to find a pen and paper and write a letter to Viscount Klein so that he could arrange for her to meet Shio and Force as soon as possible. She needed to delegate the mission. Something about Audrey is like, she has everything that she wants and needs in life, but she's also the one that can, you know, if she loses everything, I'm not sure how she's gonna be. So I love like to see how Audrey's character development will be, you know what I mean? I'm so excited. What's up, Becca? What's up, username? Hello, username! Hello, username! What's up? I missed you, man. She picked up a fountain pen dipped in ink, and suddenly Audrey held her wrist in mid-air without writing. She had just thought of a crucial problem, which was that she knew very little about the Intis ambassador Bakerland. In such cases, it was easy to misjudge the difficulty of a mission, either because no one was willing to accept it or because the mission had been entrusted to an unsuitable person, dooming the mission to fail at the very beginning. The resulting growing cost wasn't her main concern. Instead, she believed that the fool would better reward her and help her even further. Yep. After pondering for a moment, Audrey turned her head to her maidservant Annie and said, "Tell Countess Charia that I accept her invitation and I will punctually attend her ball tomorrow evening." Countess Charia, it's a new character. Charia was the wife of Earl Wolf, and she had invited ambassadors to Loan from every country to her upcoming ball, including Bakerland, Jean, and Madan. Interesting place to assassinate him, right? I mean, Audrey is not gonna do it because Audrey has no like fighting abilities or nothing. She's just gonna observe in that ball, right? What's up, Slammer? What's up, Observer? Audrey had planned on declining the invitation with the excuse of being sick, but now she was interested in the ball. Yep. After she observed Ambassador Bakerland and gathered enough information, she would meet with Shio and Force. Audrey suddenly felt the excitement of participating in a major event that she always dreamed of. Yeah, exactly. First manor in the Roasted Archipelago, city of Generosity, Bayam. Is that where Alger is? First manor in Roarstead. That sounds like a town in Skyrim. Having returned to the real world, Alger changed into an attire that was considered Cody in the Intis Republic. Oh, it's in the Intis Republic, yeah. And went through the back door of the hotel into the alley and made several detours. He stopped in front of a house with no garden or lawn and put on a familiar white mask. Interesting. Next, he knocked on the door with 3 heavy knocks and 2 light ones, separating them with 2 lengthy pauses and 2 short pauses respectively. Oh, like a code knock? Like a password? Like... Wait. And then... Like that? After about 10 seconds, the door cracked open. A man wearing a pirate headband stuck his head out and looked around quickly. "Come in," the man said with a deep... Come in, the man said with a deep voice as he made way. Without a word, Olga quietly walked into the room. Creak, the door slammed shut. Okay, interesting. We know that the current pirate king, or one of them, is a descendant of someone from 160 years ago. That was revealed in the meeting as well, right? Sound effects, yeah. She has money power though, yeah. But she also has everything to lose. Imagine like her, like she has to fake her death and like start over or something, just like Klein. Even though Klein didn't fake her death, even though Klein didn't fake his death, it was just something that happened, but yeah. At 15 Minsk Street, Klein threw the curtains open and sat down on his desk. I'm not gonna see the sun. No, I wanna see more of City of Silver, man. The information about the secret order that was given to him by the hanged man made him realize that his target might have certain connections to the Intis Republic. At the same time, he was reminded of the words the hanged man had used to describe the Anticonus family. Strange and terrifying. The Beyonder who sneaked into my room last night to read the information and leave me a warning was indeed strange. Yeah, Bakerland goons, you know? The sequence pathway that the Anticonus family has in their control is the Seer pathway, which the secret order possesses. The two can't be equated. That is to say, one can speculate that the Beyonder from last night was a member of the secret order who works part-time as an Intis Republic spy. Or could the person not be a member of the secret order but someone who used the connection between the Intis Republic and the secret order to obtain corresponding formulas and potions? Klein began to boldly assume that as he carefully tried to verify. This can explain why my clown's premonition ability didn't trigger when the strange dreadworm intruded. This is the suspension effect of a Beyonder from a higher sequence that shares the same pathway as me. Oh! Of course, it's also possible that the iron black threadworm posed no concrete threat to me. Yeah, because the fucking black worm or whatever that came into your room was not a person. It was summoned by a Beyonder that saw through it to look at the letter. So maybe that's why it didn't trigger the suppression effect. Sorry, premonition ability. Maybe that's why. Because it was just like a blob of like darkness that just rolled through. Huh, interesting. But it can be like Intis Republic has connections to the secret order, of course. Because obviously like Saratul was from Intis Republic, Roselle was from there, and I don't know what the secret order is up to right now, right? They might, like, we don't know what they're doing right now, so it might as well be. Similarly, it can be explained why the dreadworm infiltrated my room at the same night that I wrote the information regarding Ian Wright. Furthermore, it went straight for the desk. The other party is equipped with seer abilities, making matters appear reasonably logical. Yeah, because they probably divined what you were doing, right? That's why they knew the game. So, it is a seer. Can some other pathways like have, I mean, of course. Other pathways might have the same kind of like, or similar, or even better divination abilities to see what you were doing. Because, you know, this has to be connected to the Bakerland case. After repeatedly verifying his speculation, Klein felt that this guess was very likely close to the truth. If the person is a relatively higher sequence Beyonder from the Seer pathway, what sequence number would he be? And what will the potion name be? To have the dreadworm in his control, could it be another component of a circus, the Beast Tamer? Klein shook his head in self-deprecating manner while feeling amused. Well, let me open my notes for a second. Beast Tamer is probably one of the Seer pathway. Let me see. Miracle Invoker, Clown. I mean, what does Miracle Invoker have to do with circus, though? Beast Tamer will be likely like sequence 7, sequence 6 maybe. I think Faceless might also be a sequence number in the Seer pathway, which is the title of the second volume, right? So if like let's say sequence 9 is Seer, sequence 8 is Clown, let's say sequence 7 is Magician, which is my prediction. Let's say sequence 6 is Faceless. Will sequence 5 be Beast Tamer? So that person who came in is maybe sequence 5 Seer. Let's see. Beyonder who read Klein's notes is sequence 5 or 6 seer beast tamer. Because I think sequence 7 is magician. That's my third theory of this book. Secret order working together with Intis Republic ambassador. Maybe. What else can like be a beast tamer fall onto? Like, not savant, not spectator, not sailor, not sleepless, not marauder. Apprentice, no. Bard, no. Not savant. Hunter, maybe? Probably not, right? Only reason why I say hunter is because, like, hunter classes in MMOs. Warrior, probably not. Arbiter, no. Planter, no. Apothecary, no. Secret Super, no. Assassin, no. Bard. I have Bard twice. What the fuck? Why do I have Bard twice? Monster, no, but also monster is nearly completed, which is crazy. Lawyer, criminal, prisoner, reader, nope. It might not even be there because Klein is guessing. Yeah, true, but it just makes sense. Why do you think Faceless is a seer sequence? Only because there's a fucking noise outside, man. Only because what's it called? The title of volume 2 is called Faceless, and I'm like putting connection to like volume 1 titled Clown. What's happening outside? Can you hear that? What the fuck? And also because when we first started volume 2, we were discussing about it as well, where the Faceless is like a double meaning. It can be a sequence number, probably on the seer pathway, or most likely, and also it represents Klein currently in his journey, because he literally like becomes a new person with a new identity. He's faceless, nobody knows him anymore. That's why, right? It's in the OST. There's something going on outside as well. Monster is the goat pathway. Oh, there's some dogs in the OST. There were outside. There was them clanging. Let me change the music. Oh no, I changed it on itself. Okay. If the music is too loud, let me know. Okay. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, 30th theory, guys. Maybe we can get to number 50 by the end of the book. I haven't like deleted stuff. Like Klein is going to hire Teen Boy. This is when I first saw Ian in the train. Right? So I should delete that, but then I have to change the numbers. I have to think of a better system, guys. If Beast Tamer was here pathway, then what would be the Beast of Klein? I don't know, like Beast Tamer, it seems like you can summon like a lot of beasts. Right? That's what it sounds like. If it is on the seer pathway, which I like Klein's theory. I stole Klein's theory, man. Anyway, let's continue. If the person in question is a relatively higher sequence beyond the seer pathway, what sequence number will he be, and what will the potion name be? To have the Dreadworm in his control, could it be another component of a circus? The Beast Tamer, Klein shook his head in a self-deprecating manner while feeling amused. Perhaps my subsequent potion formula will be obtained from him. Is this the true meaning of the revelation I received from my former divination? Backland released the Land of Hope. Klein muttered a few words to himself and began to consider what to do next. He had entrusted the task of assassinating the Intis ambassador Bakerland to put an end to all latent dangers. He had to avoid suspicion, but he didn't have the ability needed to do so. After Ian Wright's whereabouts were revealed to both sides, he was confident that Ambassador Bakerland wouldn't have time to exact revenge on him in the near future and wouldn't add to his problems. Also, Ian Wright and Israel were both like part of a bigger organization that we're gonna find out soon, right? Finding the extremely important item he mentioned was obviously what he was most concerned about. In other words, before that item is found, I will be safe. I won't need to rush to hire powerful Beyonder bodyguards. Even though you tried to hire them, they refused. Even if there are any follow-up revenge, it's unlikely the ambassador will hire a high-sequence Beyonder to deal with me. It's neither economical nor necessary. After all, Backland isn't his home ground. Exactly, but something you don't think here, that most like ambassadors and positions of power come from nepotism, and those people might not make rational decisions. So what you think is rational might not be for Bakerland, right? There is possibilities that he could still get the Beyonder who sent the Iron Black Threadworm to infiltrate my room last night. He will at least be a sequence 7 and perhaps even sequence 6 or 5. He has the strength required and is familiar with the situation. When the time comes, I just need to hire a bodyguard according to this standard. I hope that before then the ambassador will never be able to issue such an order. Klein looked out at the window at the fog, which had finally dissipated, seemingly in a daze. The fucking smog of Backland needs to be studied, man. Why is it yellow and why is it dissipating? Doesn't the fog, is it like, I thought it was smoke from the smoke, but here it says fog. I don't trust the fog, man. Why is it yellow as well, dude? Does it to continue heading to Braveheart's bar tonight? Firstly, this was to come into contact with other Beyonders through Casper's, so as to choose a suitable bodyguard. Exactly. Casper is a big guy, man, and he knows he has connections. Secondly, he could find an opportunity to sell Mersol's Beyonder characteristics, gather some funds, and see if anyone was selling any powerful mystic item would enhance his strength. This was a plan that will never go out of date. After confirming his plan, Klein pretended to leisurely read the newspaper. He waited until the sky turned dark before slowly getting up and making himself tomato oxtail soup. Yum! After eating and drinking to his heart's content, he drew the bedroom curtain as usual and decided not to open them tonight. Then summoning himself and responding to himself, he turned into the unique spirit body, bringing back Ozzy's copper whistle, Mirrorself Beyonder characteristics and self-made charms. Also those materials and the tarot cards to the real world, leaving behind only a few items such as a bloodied contract. Nice. It's smoke so thick that it becomes a fog. Ugh. Ugh. Highlighting green which were right and red which were wrong. Oh, I mean theories. Yeah, true. That's such a good idea. Holy shit, yellow. Thank you. Ugh, I hate smoke, man. Ugh. After doing all of this and equipping the corresponding items, Klein's strength returned to its peak, and he was once again half an expert in mysticism. I straightened his collar, took his cat and cane and left 15 Minsk Street. Okay. Iron Gate Street inside Braveheart's bar. The family, in exchange for a glass of beer, Klein found Casper's in a card room playing Fighting Evil while betting on a boxer outside. He was leading quite a pleasant life. Wasn't Fighting Evil Fighting Landlord? But they fucking renamed it because the landlords probably didn't like it, you know? Rosell just called it Fighting Evil. Same thing, honestly. I don't know. The familiar surroundings reminded Klein of the last time he had met Marek. Yeah, Marek was the one that had like zombie fight, like, you know, not bodyguards, but like he had an army of zombies. Playing poker with more than 10 zombies, he was suddenly glad that he hadn't brought Ozzy's copper whistle with him. If I carried the copper whistle Mr. Ozzy had given me, I think that a dozen or so of Marek's zombies would mutiny on the spot and come to entertain me warmly. I wonder what kind of expression he would have. Klein stood up by the door, nodding at Kaspar Kalilin to indicate his intentions. Kaspar covered his scarred and sore. He got up, walked the door, and said in a low voice, "I'll take you to a place where the people, although they aren't as good as Marek, are pretty strong. As for whether or not you can make a deal, it has nothing to do with me. However, I have to warn you in advance, you're not to anger them. We might not be able to see the sun tomorrow. Of course, it's not easy to see the sun in Backland after September." "Do I need to pay you?" Klein asked sincerely. Casper nodded, pleased. £2. I can buy a revolver with that money at the weapons store. Although they set the price at more than £3, it can basically be haggled for around £2. Klein crumbled and gave Casper's 2 £1 notes. Also, what's really interesting with Klein is, like, I think it's kind of genius how it changed. That Klein is like spending more money now, and sometimes recklessly, because they even said it himself. Like, that's like acting like a clown. Like, buying overpriced shit that you don't need. You're actually being a clown, right? It doesn't like, it's not in this case, but earlier when he was buying like lows and gains, then he was brought up. Casper turned his head to his fellow players to inform them that he was leaving. Hobbling along, he led Klein towards the bar's kitchen, and from there entered the back alley and circled around the darkened house. Also, Marek knows something that we don't. Or was he just like, maybe didn't wanna get involved with like a country? He took out an iron mask that could only cover half a face, handed to Klein, and chuckled. Just pretend that you bought this for £2. Okay. I can buy a lot more with £2. Klein wore the iron mask and deliberately messed up his hair. Seeing that he was ready, Casper knocked on the door rhythmically. A password, a password. Let me think how it will be. 7 or 8 seconds later, a small wooden board on the door was suddenly pulled open, revealing a pair of brown eyes behind it. After a long moment of scrutiny, Klein finally saw the door open behind him. A man wearing an iron mask. Oh, this is like a cult. Iron mask. Oh, maybe it's to like hide their identity, I guess. Mask stood there and handed Klein a hooded robe. He said to Casper's in a hoarse voice, "Next time, remember to tell me not once, otherwise..." He closed the door, turned and led Klein through the darkened living room into the activity room on the first floor. This guy does not like Klein being here. Or maybe he doesn't like how Casper just brings new people. There was a candle burning on the coffee table and the room was dimly lit. There were 10 people sitting on the sofas and chairs around the coffee table. They were all wearing hooded robes and wearing iron masks. After putting on the long robe, Klein quietly found a chair in a corner and sat down. He heard a fat-faced man complain. Recently there has been a group of wild beasts in the sewers that have gnawed away a lot of the herbs I grew. Oh, Apothecary! Why the fuck are you growing herbs in the fucking sewers, by the way? They're very smart and didn't touch the poisonous ones. I need someone to help me clean them up. You know, this is my specialty. I'm only good at concocting medicine and treating your illnesses. This fat-faced gentleman is Apothecary, guys. Klein spending money, words gone mad, pigs are flying, hell's gone gold, exactly. Anyway, this is was a 30-minute chapter, by the way. We were yapping a lot. I'll try to like keep it 15 and 20 minutes next time, but always if I have something to say, I'm not gonna like sacrifice discussing in theory to be done faster. So it's just how it is with me, right? Anyway, so Klein is meeting with I guess Beyonder Circle here, which, you know, Klein wanted. That was one of his goals when he reached Backland, is to like meet with other Beyonders and also snitch out the secret order. Asik is also up to something in the Republic. He's wearing like the white mask, I guess, to like also like hide his identity. And I think it's kind of like interesting how both Klein and Alger are wearing masks here. I know it's not connected, but it's like a fun thing to point out. And then Audrey saying about giving the potion to Susie. Also, Klein made a very good theory about the person who came into his room being on the same pathway as him, on a higher one, and maybe being a beast tamer, which, you know, I have nothing to add to that theory. I think it's really smart. Only thing I might consider is maybe the beast tamer pathway is on a... Sorry, beast tamer pathway. The beast tamer sequence, you know, is on another pathway maybe. Klein didn't consider that, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, let's go. 240, trying your luck. Anything interesting that I have missed? I guess this I wrote down. 1 second, let me run an ad. Because I'm greedy. Are you liking Volume 2? Many say that it's not much, but I love the pseudo-normal life he has. It's kinda different. Like, I love Klein figuring out his new identity in Backland and the interaction he's having with the inventor guy, the lawyer, Jürgen. and others, and like this is like a build up to something big, right? This is like world building that's needed for the next part of the story. And I think the main point of the story next time is maybe a big war between Intis Republic and Loen Kingdom, and also Klein getting revenge. I'm guessing maybe first on Lanevus and then maybe on Ints. But getting revenge on Ints, I feel like it's gonna be in like volume 4, 5. Because like how do you get revenge on a sequence 4 right now? Let me, 1 second guys. You missed one chapter, Fanbear. We read for 30 minutes because we were discussing a lot. Trying your luck. Who is this? Oh, Klein maybe? I wanna see more of the sun as well. 240. Good at concocting medicine, treating illnesses, and growing quite a few medicinal herbs in the sewers. Is an apothecary. Also, why? I guess is growing it in the sewers because otherwise, like, the authorities will find out about it. But, like, why not just, like, do it in your home? Like how people grow a weed in their home. Maybe it's, like, easier for people to find out in the sewers. But, like, how will plants go in the sewers? Does he have, like, a little, like, you know, what's it called? A greenhouse in the sewers? Wonder if he's a member of the Life and School of Thought or a believer of Earth Mother. Of course, it's more likely for him to be unaffiliated. Klein listened thoughtfully but didn't speak out carelessly. In the Loen Kingdom, due to the church storms of rejecting the eternal blazing sun and the god of knowledge and wisdom, while the church of Evernight and the church of the god of combat were irreconcilable. As a result of this, among the foreign religions, only the Church of Earth Mother had obtained the right to preach. Oh, under the tacit suppression from the 3 churches, they only had a few churches with very few believers, to the point that they didn't even need to form a team of beyonders, and even if they did, they won't be recognized by the government and couldn't cooperate with the police department. They would be considered as vigilantes. So, Earth Mother is, I'm guessing the believers are oppressed as well. And maybe there's a reason for the other churches not to promote Earth Mother. Maybe it's not like the god of this religion is not allied with the others. Is that the reason? Maybe, I'm guessing. Or they don't want them to become strong. We'll see. Oh, thank you, Masters. 3 months. Thank you so much. W. I'm so happy username is here, man. According to the confidential information of the Nighthawks, the Church of Earth Mother had 2 sequence paths in control, Planter and Apothecary. However, the latter was apparently incomplete. Oh. Planter and Apothecary is such like chill pathways, by the way. Like you're just vibing, you're just planting plants and making medicine, like chill life, no? Obviously, like it's not that easy. It's gonna be like the names. They seem chill, but we don't know the sequences, so... The suspected apothecary didn't have his hood on. He revealed a black iron mask on his face, but it only covered the part above the bridge of his nose, making the quivering fat on his cheeks appear to stand out. Oh god. So he has like mask like this on, right? I repeat, I need someone to clean up the newly appeared beast in the sewers. I only need the area around Backland Bridge cleaned up. Payment will be 4 bottles of my precious medicine. You just want them to kill some rats, like pest control? 2 of them can effectively stop bleeding and simulate the healing of wounds. Trust me, this is better than going to clinic to do a suture operation, and it's effective for 6 months. The man suspected to be an apothecary stated his requirements and corresponding conditions. Well, the problem is, I don't trust this man. He's gonna give me some sus medicine, I put it on my wounds, and the next second is controlling my life. Skyrim quest, yeah, kill 5 rats. And I guess why the Church of Storms rejects the searches of Epis Wisdom, Earth Mother, and Wisdom, and why Evernight rejects combat. It's because they were enemies in the past, right? And you know how... and they're sort of like connected pathways pathways that connects that you can like switch from, right? So maybe they're more likely to be allies, the ones that you can like switch to. Allied pathways, connected pathways. Divination. Yes, Skyrim quest. Yeah, let's kill 5 rats. Suddenly left out a soft laugh and continued to describe the case. The other 2 bottles can last 1.5 months and can allow a man to find the urges from back when he was 17 or 18 years old and become a beyonder on the bed. You know what I mean. Even if it exceeds the use by date, it can still produce effects, but it will also spread throughout the body. The user will become abnormally violent and their strength, speed and agility will greatly increase before exhaustion kicks in half an hour later. And become a beyonder on the bed. I know what you mean, bro. Why does he look like those old military doctors who plaster their tiny advertisements everywhere and shamelessly promoting the effects of expired drugs? And I couldn't help but silently lampoon. Legendary lampoon dropped again. Seeing the silent room after he said in his piece, his suspected apothecary could only grit his teeth and say, I'll add 30 pounds on top of my 4 precious bottles of medicine. That's more like it. 30 pounds is a lot better than your suspicious medicine, by the way, that we're never gonna use. Finally, a man sitting somewhere along the periphery of the couches woke up. Notice how nobody wanted to take the mission, only when he mentioned the money. He surveyed the area and said in deep voice, I accept this commission. You should pay in advance with 2 bottles of medicine, 1 of each kind. Mr. Eye of Wisdom will bear witness. Mr. Eye of Wisdom? Mr. Eye of Wisdom will bear witness. I guess someone's name here is Mr. Eye of Wisdom, who oversees the meeting, I guess. No problem, said the elder seated on a single sofa with a nod. Wait. No problem, said the elder seated on a single sofa with a nod. The lines on his cheeks were deep, his skin a little shiveled, and his voice had an ancient quality to it. So Klein charged him to be an elderly gentleman. Probably like a high sequence beyonder as well, right? Alright, the suspected apothecary heaved a sigh of relief. After the conclusion of this transaction, the gathering seemed to turn more lively soon. A woman with her face completely covered by hoods said, I want to sell 2 weapons. Weapons? Klein adjusted his posture and became more focused. Klein literally went like... Wait, how do you do it? Like I don't know how to do it. Like when you lock in, you know, like... Anyway. A bit of art after the stream should be... Oh, you can send me, yeah. Someone needs to be a curator, otherwise no one will ever trust anyone. Exactly, like... How's it called? A middleman? Like how someone who bears witness and confirms the trade or whatever. Seer pathway is one of the best in bed, if you think about it. Oh my god. Since he was temporarily unable to advance, he could only increase his strength by using external items. Those weapons might be beyond their artifacts as well, by the way. Right? Maybe that's what the woman is alluding to. One of them is an inscribed steel sword. It is minted by the search of eternal blazing sun. It comes with purifying and evil warding effects. Exactly, beyond their items. In the nemesis of water, ghosts, wraiths and zombies and other undead creatures, it can still be used for another 3 years. Of course, its sharpness enough to kill. So that's like the emblem. The woman's voice fluctuated in volume, a clear attempt to hide her characteristics. 500 pounds, or the sequence 8 potion, barbarian. Barbarian, and it will be yours. Barbarian, let me cook. I know this. Prisoner, no. Criminal maybe? Sequence 8 criminal is barbarian. Or sequence 8 of warrior is barbarian. Okay, warrior or criminal. No, it has to be warrior or criminal. There's no way it can be... Or, no, it can't be prisoner, because what the fuck. Okay, probably warrior, right? Criminal, you will be like sequence 2 of criminal will be like I don't know, murderer, or not thief, that's like very small, but yeah. I think it's more likely to be warrior pathway, because like if you like choose a barbarian class in games, right? Because I don't think barbarian will be a criminal. Killer. Yeah, I think so. Let me just write it down here. 8 barbarian, and I'm gonna add a little question mark because it might throw me a curveball, you know? Can it be like planter? No, of course not. Might be criminal though, but I think it's like 90 to 10. You have others like filled in already, you know? Yeah, I think so. In a burger joint right now, that's nice. Sequence 9 soothsayer, ugh. In a giant pathway? Are you sure? Where the fuck is the giant pathway at, bro? Who deleted my giant pathway? What? Wait, where is the giant pathway? Oh. Oh, warrior. Okay. Warrior pathway is a giant pathway, you're right. Anyway. Yeah, anyway. That's not, you just wrote it there, bro. Okay, just. Sometimes I have brain fog. Okay? We're not gonna talk about it. Let's keep reading. How expensive? For me, there's no reason I must have it. If I were to encounter undead that I'm currently unable to deal with, blowing the whistle is the best solution. Even with Mr. Isaac, the messenger alone should be able to intimidate many undead creatures. Klein shook his head and listened to the lady introduction for the second weapon. Okay, let's see. Meat clever. Ooh. With an exquisite mechanical structure, it can be transformed, making it easy to carry. This is a combat weapon made by outstanding craftsmen. It's rarely seen and will cost 25 pounds. Meat clever. I feel like if it is a Beyonder item, it's like Sequence 9 Beyonder item, you know what I mean? It can be transformed, yeah, so you can hit it. You have to hide it, like it's like invisible, you know what I mean? There sure is a huge difference in pricing between weapons with Beyonder effects and those without. Klein watched from the sidelines until the steel sword was bought by a Sulan gentleman in another corner, and the meat cleaver became part of Mr. Eye of Wisdom's collection. So it can be transformed. It's probably Chinangos can transform himself, right? You did write a few sequences from previous. Do you mean these ones? Where is it? The monster one? I did. Or which one do you mean? It can be transformed. It might be like, I guess, maybe on the, what's it called? Sorry. Sailor pathway. Windblast can transform. Anyway. There sure is a huge difference. Yep. There were successes and failures in the few deals that followed. The only thing attempted Klein was a fortune accessory, a Beyonder item that could make a person's luck with fortune rise for 3 months. However, this wasn't the main goal and the price wasn't that great. Oh, that's crazy. There's a sequence called Luck, literally. Where is it called? Lucky. Probably from this sequence, right? Oh, it means a noble names. Oh! Yeah, I have it copied. A beyond item would cost £25, of course. But it has a shitty effect. It has like a mediocre effect. You know what I mean? That's why. Unless it's like, it's made by a craftsman. Oh, okay. I'm guessing it. Okay. It's made by someone on the savant pathway and has some like technology on it, and it's not a beyond item. I'm guessing. Maybe. That's what I'm guessing. Yep. Seeing that the atmosphere had turned silent once again, he slowly exhaled and said in a suppressed voice, "I want to sell something." After attracting everyone's attention, he took up an iron cigar case and pushed out the crimson beyonder characteristic which resembled jelly. Without needing to organizing his words, he introduced it with something he had already prepared ahead of time. This is something I obtained from a corpse. I'm not sure what the use it has, it's just that I find it very magical. Maybe some of you know what it is. Oh, Klein is playing it smart. Doesn't want to reveal to them that he knows about beyonder characteristics. Klein deliberately didn't mention that this was a beyonder characteristic, nor did he mention that the crimson quote-unquote jelly in his hand could replace the main ingredient of the hunter potion. This involved the law of beyonder characteristics indestructibility, and he didn't want to benefit the members of his beyonder gathering with this knowledge. True, because you have to like keep it to yourself, and maybe people will like use that knowledge, and you become weaker because of that. In addition, this Klein had the intention of probing to see if anyone there knew the law of beyonder characteristics indestructibility, such as a person would definitely be stronger than the rest, or perhaps someone with a powerful background, making them suitable as a bodyguard. At the same time, he continued to disguise himself as an ordinary person who didn't know much about the beyonder community, although the members of the gathering couldn't see his appearance through the iron mask. Casper Scullinen knew what he looked like, and quite a few people in the room probably knew Casper. Being careful and prudent were the two things Klein had emphasized to himself before leaving home today. Cases examined the crimson object in his hand, but Klein wasn't a spectator and couldn't tell what they meant. After more than 10 seconds, no one spoke. The room was quiet as a cemetery. At this moment, one old gentleman sitting on the sofa, Mr. Eye of Wisdom, coughed and said, "Ugh! I have a rough idea of what this is and what it does, but knowledge needs to be exchanged with something in return. I'll pay you £400! Believe me, it's perfectly fair price. Of course, you have the right to refuse. The main ingredients of Sequence 9 potions are about 150-200. 2 are needed and they add up to about 400. The offer is very reasonable. The old gentleman with the codename Eye of Wisdom seems to recognize that this belongs to the Hunter sequence. He had no need for divination and he was able to recognize it immediately. Could it be Sequence 7 of the sequence pathway Appraiser? Oh, true actually. Because Appraiser is the one that like can, I don't know, like get value of items. That's what appraising means, right? Klein thought for a moment and said, "Deal. However, sir, you don't need to rush to pay. I still have another request." "What request?" Eye of Wisdom asked in an old voice. Klein pondered and said, "The thing is, I offended someone. According to your circle, he will be Sequence 6 or 5. I wish to hire a bodyguard." "Sequence 6, maybe Sequence 5? Why don't you just die quietly? If you reach that level, why would we be attending such a small gathering?" Suspected Apothecary prodded out with a bit of sneer in astonishment. Although the other members of the party didn't say anything, from the looks of it, no one planned on accepting the request. Their thoughts were similar to those of the suspected Apothecary. Eye of Wisdom chuckled and said, "Maybe you don't know our circle well enough. People at Sequence 6 or Sequence 5 are very, very, very powerful and terrifying people. Yes, there have been many cases of a lot of Sequence 8 and Sequence 9 beyonders killing someone that strong, but..." What the fuck? These are events that are still very hard to replicate. There has been someone on Sequence 9 that has killed a Sequence 6 or 5. That's crazy planning or luck, by the way. I think no one here is willing to take such a huge risk to protect you. If you're certain that the other party is only Sequence 6 and doesn't have any mystical items, there might be someone who will want to accept the challenge this mission entails. "Well, I'm not sure," Klein shrugged and said, "I'll have to try to save myself. What can I get for £400? The mystical item you're talking about?" "Believe me, a mystical item worth £400 certainly wouldn't be able to deal with your enemy. and you'll bring more danger. I suggest you apologize to him. Sincerely apologize, and perhaps 400 pounds will be enough to buy his understanding. Iron Wisdom said sincerely. Frankly, I've thought about it, but I don't think they'll accept it. Klein was about to answer when the man who accepted the task of cleaning the sewer piece suddenly laughed. Maybe you can try your luck. I have a mystical item here that can sell you for 400 pounds. I can let you bear the voice of a great being if you're lucky. It can let you hear the voice of a great being if you're lucky and can decipher some useful information. You'll become very powerful and... no, that sounds very dangerous. Holy shit. It will no longer be difficult for you to protect yourself. Well, if you're unlucky and end up deciphering a curse or fall to decipher it, then you'll be hurt or even up dying. What if you buy the luck item and then buy this item? Will it stack? Will you be more lucky to get like a positive response and not lose control? And not getting a curse? I don't know, that like mystical item seems like fake. You're gonna hear a voice of a great being. Like, is the great being inside the mystical item? Then if it's only for 400 pounds, it cannot be that great. Or maybe it's worth so much because it's like gambling, it's like dangerous. One point you can get cursed and die, other point you get information. Who wants to risk that, right? You want to take the gamble? Before I could finish his sentence, Iron Wisdom crawled. Black Snake, don't mention the ominous item of yours. Black Snake? That's a fucking cold title. Laughed and said, I'm not lying, I'm not violating the rules here either. I don't know the advantages and disadvantages and let him to make his own choice. The probability of getting useful information is approximately 10%. Not worth it, bro. Do you want to take the gamble? Imagine trying low prices because of risk, exactly. If it was 50-50, I'm like, I bet all on black, good luck, right? But this is 10%. Even if you like do it 20 times, there's still a chance. Even if you do it like 30 times, 40 times, there's still a chance you won't succeed, right? So if you do it once, like you're gonna The Russian roulette of Beyond the World, hearing the voice of a great being. Is this the Aura Order's listener? Oh, that's true. But like, it can't be that great, right? I think I'm left behind after listening and lost control. I looked at Black Snake that he suspected to be a member of the Aura Order and made many connections. Perhaps I can bet on it. No, I can't call it a bet because I'll bring this item to the world about the grey fog before using it. Like, oh my god, he can divine! He can just do divination, say, will I succeed? And if divination says no, he just wasted 400 pounds. Can he take a receipt and return it after he divines it? Or something? It's item in the world about grey fog. Before using it, can already bring real objects there. This way I can avoid most of the danger. Oh, that's also true. However, it's an only item left behind by sequence 8 beyond there. This responding benefit might not be that good. Exactly, that's what I said. 400 pounds in cheap. As his thoughts raced through his mind, Klein nodded solemnly and said, deal. What? Klein! Okay. Klein probably knows something I don't. I mean, yeah, bring it to the grey fog and using it there might nullify the curse or whatever. But are you 100% sure you're not getting scammed here? And are you 100% sure it will work? Right? Also, the Eye of Wisdom guy was kind of like, ugh, don't mention that ominous item of yours. I feel like the Black Snake has tried to sell it before, you know? Nobody wanted it. Also, Black Snake might as well be part of the Aura Order, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, interesting items here. A lot of like beyond their characteristics on a lot of items. Like the sword from the Bard pathway, that's just like the emblem, right? But it has like 3-year lifespan, he said. It's good for like 3 more years. And then the fat Apothecary has some like potions that, you know, makes you stronger, I guess. But interesting thing is that these Beyonder items are like probably sequence 9, sequence 8. They're not that good, right? And the meat cleaver probably is not even a Beyonder item. It's just like made by someone on Savant pathway. But Klein is thinking here, but I feel like this is too risky. And even if you succeed in the grey fog, will the information from sequence 8 listener really benefit you? And maybe it does actually, yeah. He's clowning about. Oh my god, that's so true, by the way. Praise the fog, exactly. He's clowning about. Yep. Yeah, this is like it maybe benefits him. Also, it's a really shit decision. So he advancing on his clown potion as well. Oh my god, that's so true. Language of Foulness, chapter 241. I love gambling. Whoa. Gamble, gamble, gamble. I nearly clicked on the end stream button, Jesus. Praise the fog. Yeah. Why the music so quiet, bro? Let me switch up the music, guys. What should I put? Oh, I wanna put the Freeren playlist, but I can't, bro. New season of Freeren is coming out, by the way. I'm not sure if everyone is aware. You probably are, right? All on black. There was only a single candle that illuminated the room. The atmosphere in the living room was so silent that it was if everything had frozen. A few seconds later, the suspected apothecary finally muttered, "Why don't you leave an address? That way I can get something out of your body." He looks like he's cursing me, but he is actually persuading me otherwise. I pretend not to understand and said to Black Snake, "I don't have any chance of survival if I don't gamble. There'll be the silver of hope if I gamble on it. I won't sit back and wait for death." Jesus Christ. 10%, by the way. Hearing this, Die of Wisdom was about to say something, shut his mouth because he won't offer any other hope. "I really admire your character." Black Snake laughed. "I also admire in the past that I got a few friends who had such characters. Now I visit their tombstones every year and place a bunch of flowers there." They gambled and they lost and died. The suspect apothecary mused in a mocking but actually persuasive manner. Apothecary is like trying to make Klein stop and back out. He didn't care that Black Snake was better fighter than he was. He said whatever he wanted to. Mr. Apothecary must have suffered because of his temper. Klein was secretly grateful. Mr. Apothecary, damn. He handed the iron cigar case containing the Hunted Beyonder characteristics to the attendant who brought it to Eye of Wisdom. The old gentleman counted out 400 pounds in cash from the suitcase beside him and got the attendant to pass it on to Black Snake. Black Snake casually took a glance and said, "Huh, I believe in Mr. Wisdom." He took out a small wooden box, bent down and placed it on the ground. He pushed the box so that the object slid to Klein without going through the attendant. The moment Klein's fingers touched the surface of the box, he heard faint illusory sounds and immediately felt a strong sense of dizziness. For him, this wasn't something he couldn't handle. It was even comparable to the illusory voices of justice and company when they prayed to him. Oh. After sitting up straight again, Klein carefully opened the wooden box and saw quote-unquote ear inside. Oh, like you listen to the ear. That's crazy. Also, Black Snake infinite money glitch. If they die, just sell it to someone else. That's true, but he has to like find where they used it on so we can get it back, right? Also, what I want to say, maybe it's 10% for like a normal person, but I feel like it depends on the will of the person. For example, someone who has strong will, maybe the succeed rate is like 20% or 25%, or someone who's a stronger beyonder also has higher percent of like not getting cursed, but someone who is weaker might be like 2 or 5%, you know what I mean? So maybe the average is out to like 10% or something. For him, this wasn't something he couldn't handle. It wasn't even comparable to the illusory voice of assassin and company when they prayed to him. After sitting up straight again, Klein carefully opened the box and saw an ear inside. The ears looked real, except the skin was dark and there were a few green areas where it had rotted. Ew! Yum! Make food from it. But how do you use it, Klein asked. Black Snake casually replied, grasping it with gloves is the same as using it. You wouldn't better go home and try it when you're alone. Klein didn't ask any further questions. He closed the box and put it in the pocket. He deliberately smiled bitterly and said, "This makes me dizzy." He's literally like acting like a clown in this meeting, by the way. And like the fun thing is, like he's not mentioning it in his head. So us, the viewer, like see it, but we're not sure if it's Klein or if he's like acting as a clown, because you don't see like, oh, I'm gonna act as a clown now. But he is. After a short moment of silence, the suspected apothecary suddenly shouted, "I want to buy Spring of the Elf Marrow crystals. Who has it?" A voice echoed in the air and no one answered. Spring of Elves Marrow. Okay, crystals. The apothecary smacked his lips and mumbled, "Woof. Seriously, there's no answer every time this is asked." Maybe you could book a cruise to Sony Island, Eye of Wisdom quipped. The Spring of the Elves was also known as the Sony Golden Spring, and one could tell from its name where it came from. The Spring of the Elves was commonly seen in liquid and was an object with rich spirituality. However, the narrow crystals were considered beyond their ingredients and not easily purchasable. After that, there were a few failed transactions in the gathering. Eye of Wisdom clapped his hands and said, "Let's end it today. According to the conversation, we leave one by one, each separated by 3 minutes. Leaving one by one, each separated by 3 minutes, this is to prevent the gathering members from being tailed and robbed." True. When Klein received the signal from Eye of Wisdom, he stood up and, guided by the attendant, left the activity room and went to the door. He took off his hooded robe and handed it back to the attendant before following the path in his memories back to the back door of the bodyguard's bar. He then removed his iron mask and walked through the kitchen to see Caspers standing outside his guard room over the barking of dogs and clamoring of people. I'm delighted that you came back," the red-nosed elder heaved a sigh of relief, the nasty wounds on his face seemingly trembling. "Scars?" Klein leaned over and said in a low voice, "Are there such gatherings in the future?" Wait, what? Or maybe throw it at the enemy and hope they get cursed. Oh my god, this is how you assassinate the ambassador. You're like, "Oh, here's a gift. These are rotten ears." He's like, "Ew!" He's gonna touch them on accident, he's gonna get cursed. Imagine. Klein leaned over and said in a low voice, "Are there such gatherings in the future? It seems like you didn't get what you wanted. Holy Lord of Storms, I don't think you should continue wasting your time." Casper scanned his costume and felt worried for maybe take a few days. I don't know the details. Let's see if you can make it in time. Canon asked, "Is Marek here?" "You're trying to convince him?" "No, it only angered him," Casper warned him in a deep voice. "He is in the card room behind you." "No, I'm not trying to convince him. I'm trying to stay as far away from him as possible so that the zombies won't go into mutiny." Klein dodged Ozzy copper whistle in his pocket. "Understand." He left the Braveheart's part once, went to the one-bedroom apartment in East Borough to relieve himself before returning to Minsk Street. Rare bathroom break, by the way. We only got it mentioned twice. Inside the guard room, Marek had gone all in and confidently flipped open his cards. He had 3 kings and a pair of 9s. Oh, full house! And the zombie opposite him had a pair of 6s and an 8. Lol. Suddenly, the zombie took the initiative to reveal his hidden card, a pair of 6s. Oh, fucking 4 of a kind. What the fuck? Full house over 4 of a kind is crazy. This round they won with 4 6s. Lol. Imagine losing to your own zombie, by the way. Marek is an interesting character. Like, I feel like he's gonna come back later in the story. Maybe Kaspar's as well. I feel like every character is really significant and you can't forget about them. Right? Even the woman selling the Beyonder items as well in the store. It might turn into like a Beyonder woman later, who's later revealed to be that woman, right? It'll be really interesting to see, right? Also, the Black Snake and Eye of Wisdom is like code names, because I don't want to put them like real names as well. The Bale Marek sat there blankly and immediately felt all the surrounding zombies coldly staring at him. A few minutes later, he staggered out of the guard room on shaky feet and almost collapsed at the door while his usual entourage of subordinates inside the room fell to the ground. Why? Is it because of the copper whistle? You get too close to them? Is this like first time Marek lost or something? I don't know. "Don't let anyone in before dawn," Marek ordered in a hoarse voice as he looked at the stunned Caspers. He took out a white handkerchief and wiped the corner of his mouth. The handkerchief was quickly dyed with dark blue tint with some redness. Blood from his mouth? After receiving Casper's acknowledgement, Marek found a chair to sit on and asked for a barrel of Southfield beer. He stared blankly as he drank. Maybe because he was so like close to the copper whistle, right? Wait, what woman? The woman was selling the Beyonder items. The sword that had the characteristics of the sun emblem and the meat cleaver that can transform. Oh, the mystery is foreshadowing for us to remember every little thing. Yeah, that's why I need notes for this ration. I feel like you're gonna be so lost without like taking like character sheet and notes and stuff like that. I don't have character sheet, but I have like names wrote down, and I remember a lot of names too. At 50 Main Street, Klein followed his usual routine of washing up and returning to his room before he drew the curtains. Klein's skincare routine. After waiting for over 10 minutes and confirming that there were no specks of spirituality around, he started to summon himself. He responded to himself and brought the wooden box containing black ear into the mysterious space of the grey fog. The illusory crimson stars didn't twinkle at all as Klein sat at the seat of honor of the long ancient table and opened the wooden box. This time he didn't hear any murmurs or feel dizzy. The boundless grey fog seemed to isolate all external sounds. Klein let out a sigh of relief. He was now much more confident with his impending attempt and much more confident about his own safety. With a thought, he blocked his own hearing and performed a few experiments to confirm the effects. That's right, Klein nodded in satisfaction. He reached out and grabbed the black ear with signs of rot. He felt its coldness and slipperiness, but he didn't hear the voice of the great being that was described by Black Snake. Ooh, what? It doesn't work in the grey fog. Why maybe it doesn't work in the grey fog, you know what I mean? The grey fog got nerfed, maybe? He felt his coldness, yeah. Completely isolated, this won't do. It's impossible to use it alone, Klein muttered to himself, puzzled as though the methods he could use to simulate an effect. After a dozen or so seconds, he conjured a pen and paper, intending to emulate the process he used to spy on the eternal blazing sun previously. That time I looked directly at the blazing sun through the use of divine blood. This time I'm only using the remains left behind by a listener, so it definitely isn't that dangerous. Klein wrote down a divination statement without any hesitation. The origin of this item. He took a breath, held the black ear and leaned back as he recited the divination statement. After reciting the 7 times, his eyes darkened and entered a deep slumber. In this blurry, shattered and grey world, Klein saw a man struggling on the ground. He rolled, screamed, and his eyes bulged out. Ew! His body swelled like a balloon. Ew! And countless hairs on his body turned black and long. Oh, losing control. Oh, God. Soon after, an extremely evil and foul voice rang in Klein's ears, waking him up instantly. There we go, that's the voice. It was different from the ravings and howling that came from mysterious spaces of the grey fog. The sound was more penetrating, more purposeful and more active. Klein covered his ears and isolated any fallout, but the same voice echoed in his head. He saw his vessels and veins bulge out as if they become thick, squirming, venomous snakes. Ew! Bang! His blood vessels burst and his veins broke off from his body, spreading out into slippery tentacles filled with sinister patterns. Ugh! The grey fog slightly swayed, making the giant's palace look like it was about to corrode. Unlike the incident with the eternal blazing sun, Klein still retained his sanity and didn't roll over on the ground. He gripped the handrail tightly and endured the pain. Fucking... like... Klein is watching like snuff shit right now. Basically. Is he gonna learn something from this? Hopefully, right? After a few seconds, the slightly swaying grey fog regained its calm and the evil voice that echoed in Klein's mind completely died down. One tentacle after another he fell to the ground and his wounds began to rapidly heal. Holy shit, wait a second. Interacting with deities is truly a dangerous matter regardless of the method. Thankfully I didn't face a true creator directly this time. If not, I only heard a voice, right? I'll have remnants of madness, any signs of losing control, and will affect my body in real world. Klein weakly leaned back into his chair and silently mocked himself. So that person who was a listener literally became like a tentacle monster. Ugh. He's experiencing it, not watching. Oh, that's even worse, bro. Ah, that's even worse. That's even worse. That's even fucking worse though, right? This person was within his expectations and didn't go out of his control. The only thing that surprised him was the true creator appeared to be slightly stronger than the eternal blazing sun. Really? As Klein's thoughts were about to wander off, he saw the black ear in his palm suddenly crumble, turning into tiny specks of black light. It has become a pure beyond their characteristics. Amidst his confusion, he saw through the corner of his eye that the sinister patterned tentacles were still twitching on the ground. They were the aspects of madness and loss of control that had been stripped from his body. Ooh! The tentacles gradually turned transparent and were about to disappear. This is significant, guys. This is significant. He's less likely in the future to lose control now, right? After he woke up, all of this is Klein. Oh god. No. Don't look at the bald spot, please. Oh, this is just now. Okay. Aspects of losing control, so it's not gonna lose control right now, not later. This tentacles captured, turned transparent, and were about to disappear. A flash of brilliance came to Klein's mind. He scattered the tiny black light speck in his palm and those slippery tentacles. Usually black gas rose up and turned to a sky that constantly streaked with lightning. The background was extremely tense and gloomy. Ugh. All of this quickly disappeared from Klein's eyes. On the surface of the iron black charm on the ground were many symbols, magic labels, sinister patterns, and twisted path numbers. Ooh, wait, this is good info. The current loss of control madness will pull out of him. Yeah, so that is safe right now. Klein bent down and picked up with the feeling that was sealed inside. Klein bent down and picked it up with the feeling that what was sealed inside were howling maniacs. With the help of his divination techniques, he was able to barely decipher the use of his charm from its revelation. It was to let the opponent hear a terrifying roar, infecting them with madness. As for the final result, it depended on target's ability to resist such an attack. If the target was strong, then they might benefit from it, but the price was becoming a devout believer of the true creator, and if it was weak, he would collapse on the spot, dying amidst tragic cries. Win-win? I'll call it the language of foulness, Klein muttered and set an incantation to activate it. Bro has... Wait, this is like a very good self-defense item. Doesn't need a bodyguard anymore. If that guy comes next time, just chuck that at him, you know? Unless he's like really strong, but then again he's becoming a believer of true creator. What if you're already a devout believer of true creator? What happens then? They might benefit from it. They're gonna get the benefit without the negative, I guess, right? I see. Okay. Just benefit, exactly. Oh yeah. Now, if that guy, the beast, quote-unquote beast tamer, question mark, is sequence 5 or 6, I don't think it's gonna be enough. He's just gonna get the benefit and become true greater, you know, believer. But this is better. This is like very good for like Klein self-defense, because like if sequence 9 or sequence 8 is like bringing trouble or something, and just chuck it at them, right? From chapter 108, sequence 9 warrior, sequence gladiator, pugilist, sequence 7 weapons master, sequence 6 storm balance, sequence 5 guardian, sequence 4 demon hunter. Oh, really? Oh, I don't have it written down. Oh, I guess I forgot. Thank you. I remember pugilist, yeah. Pugilist is like you use like small items, right? That's so cool. Thank you so much, Becca. Oh, it's gladiator. Pugilist is just the old word for it, right? Weapons master. Weapons master sounds cool. Sequence 5 guardian. Demon hunter sounds so cool, by the way. Dawn Paladin. Aura. There we go. Hello, Shara. How are you doing? Okay, so everything worked out for Klein. I'm not sure if it was worth 400 pounds. He has more info on the true creator, like he's stronger than the eternal blazing of sun. We know that now, and also he has some new charms that he can defend himself with, right? So if the person is a nun beyond there, or like sequence 9, sequence 8, I'm not sure like what where is it called? Where is it? If the target was strong, I don't know what qualifies as strong in this case, right? It might be really good self-defense weapon for Klein. So let's see. Bakerland. Ooh. Politics. I'm gonna see more of politics. I'm so happy. I love politics. Let's see if there's gonna be war. Absurd it was, he got one-shot weapon for 400 pounds. Does it have only one use? Or can he create more charms later? That's what I'm wondering. Also, if you're enjoying the stream, please like the stream as well. I do once climbed up in communism in Lord of Mysteries. Klein is investing in all those stuff, so I don't think that's his goal. Someone needs to like humble Deweyville though, for real. Communism is great, yep. True. Bakerland. Early Tuesday morning, Klein woke up naturally and prepared a slice of toast, a piece of butter and serving of bacon, and a cup of coffee before leisurely reading a newspaper while having breakfast. Such a British breakfast, by the way. With a terrifying language of foulness, charm, he was much more at ease. He was no longer as tense as he was before. Klein finished flipping through the Backland bulletin, picked up the Tusok Times and saw a news article on the second page. Bro is reading two different newspapers. I mean, makes sense. He gathers info, right? At 2 o'clock this morning, there was a fierce gunfight at Red Brick Valley in East Borough. According to the police, they suspected to be clash between two gangs, one of which is the notorious Manger gang. Also, Manger gang is loyal to Bakerland. Who is the other gang? I don't know. Bakerland? There's a land of Baker, exactly. The Manger gang, the Red Brick Valley in East Borough, a thought occurred in Klein as he left the dining table and found the map of Backland. Oh! Is it the sewer thing? Are there rats in the sewers like Smunger gang? Register Clancy noticed that the Red Brick Valley wasn't far from Bacardi Street. Furthermore, Ian Wright had previously appeared at the telegraph office at Bacardi Street. Was Red Brick Valley where Ian Wright was hiding? Was the violent conflict between the military special department and the intelligence staff of the Indian Republic? Wonder what the result will be. Klein picked up the last of the bacon, put it in his mouth and chewed it slowly. Exactly, like newspaper can say one thing, but what actually happened is other thing, right? They cover up stuff. He had informed both sides about the divination the previous morning, and they had already locked onto Ian's location the very night, which implied quite a high level of efficiency. After taking a sip of coffee, Klein put down a newspaper and fell into deep thought. Suddenly he heard the tingling of a doorbell. Ooh, new client maybe? Or Ian? Who is it? Klein wiped his mouth with a napkin and headed for the door, puzzled. Why is he puzzled? Why is Bro puzzled? He had an advertisement in the newspaper for like detective jobs. Could it be a new commission? For the past few days I've been out and about because of the Intis ambassador. I wonder how many jobs and potential clients I have lost. It's such a waste of my advertising money. If this goes on, my finances will be stretched out to the limit. Klein suddenly thought of something and opened the door. Standing outside were two ladies. Ooh, hello ladies. One of them being Mrs. Sammer. Ah, hello Mrs. Sammer, landlady by the way, who wore a dressing gown. Ew, hello. She had increased makeup on her face, making her look more beautiful than at home. Nothing like she was in her 30s. Jeez, like Klein is calling 30s old, man. I have seen people in their 30s who look like 22. The other lady wore a wide brimmed hat with a black tartan wheel and darker, more fluffy dress. Detective Moriarty, I have a friend who needs your help. Stellan Sammer, under her wheeled hat, but there was no limit of a smile in her blue eyes. Please come in, Klein pointed to the living room, and while he was turning around, he took the opportunity to fasten the top button on his shirt and adjusted his black vest. Bro rushed. Then Stellin nodded slightly and without a word let the black-bearded lady into the room. She knew the place very well and without Klein's guidance easily found a sofa and took her seat. Klein wanted to immediately start asking, but then thought about Stellin Sammer's style of doing things. He asked with a smile, "Coffee or tea?" In his eyes, Mrs. Sammer was a lady who pursued a high quality of life and tried to show her superiority of all time. There's no need. The lady took off her hat. She had good features, but the combination was disappointing. What? Who are you to judge? She had good features, but the combination was disappointing? Okay, bro. Sammer is the only good landlord. I have seen 12-year-olds who look like 35. Yeah, whatever. True. It's supposed to be Slammer. Oh my god, that's so funny. In addition, her cheekbones were too high and she looked older than her actual age. That's crazy. A little anger, a little sadness, a little hesitation, a little fear. Klein read the lady's emotions. It wasn't that he suddenly possessed the abilities of a spectator, but the lady's actions were just too obvious. Oh, like me, like I can read a little bit faces. Yes, neither coffee or tea solved the problem. Stellin imitated a position found in magazines, trying her best to appear classy. This is Mrs. Mary Gale, a shareholder of Coim Company. Oh, isn't Coim Company the one that Mrs. Sammer's husband works at? I think so. What would you like to entrust me with, Mrs. Gale? Klein sat down on a single seater, leaning forward slightly and resting his arms on his thighs. Don't call me Mrs. Gale, just call me Mary. Mary Gale pursed her lips. I wish for you to tell my husband and confirm if he has a mistress. Classic. It's best if you can obtain material evidence. Like, these days, by the way, private detectives only do, like, cheating cases. There's nothing else, right? So it's like, Pro is now a detective from the 21st century. As a result of the Church of Evernight active push for years, the Lowen Kingdom was more radical in its marriage laws than the other countries, such as Feysak, Indis, and Lemberg. Interesting. So it's like, if you cheat, you're gonna get executed or some shit. Wasn't that a thing like in medieval Europe? Usually if women cheated, they got executed. Or like whipped. In this Lemberg, it stipulated that those who committed adultery had to pay financial price for it, okay. Which meant that the adulterer will be at an absolute disadvantage during the division of property. I've heard that at least 4 out of 10 of the other private detectives are investigating extramarital affairs. Exactly. I didn't expect that I would receive the job. Too, Klein said thoughtfully. Material evidence is not easy to obtain. I'll lend you the latest portable camera. There's a portable camera? Ooh. True, because there's like pictures of newspapers. That's so true, by the way. There's a picture of like Ints in like chapter like what, 2013 or something in volume 1. Mary replied without any hesitation, as long as you have the evidence, I will pay you 10 pounds. If you only confirm that he has a mistress, you only receive 3 pounds. You mean so-called portable camera that was about 2/3 the size of my head? 10 pounds isn't a low price. Mr. Klein had focusing on entrepreneurship and knew about the latest cameras. Because, you know, imagine like taking a picture long far away from. You mean so-called portable camera? Yeah. Yes, it for a few seconds before saying, alright, but you have to provide me with detailed information about your husband and his regular activities. No problem. Mary paused for a second before gathering all her strength to say it. Thank you for help. I hope that you won't tell anyone else about this, Stellin reminded him. Hearing this, Klein sighed. I'm a person who upholds confidentiality, and I often get in trouble for that. True. Also, because we asked about Ian, right? They should, you know what? He should whip up a contract, you know, every time. In the lobby of Earl Wolf's house, men and women were dancing amid violin tunes. Oh, this is Audrey, Earl Wolf's ball. We're gonna see Bakerland for the very first time, bro. Wait, let me drink water. He's allowed to have his preferences, for real, that's so true. What was Klein's remark about Mrs. Sammer? Like makeup and she's really hot. Alger was carrying a glass of pale gold champagne when she accidentally bumped into the Indian Republic ambassador of law and Bakerland, Jean Malan. You're the most beautiful young lady I ever met. Beckerland with his thin face and slight stubble pecked Audrey's white coast glove with a kiss according to propriety costumes. His eyes looked passionate and bold. Yeah, I mean, Audrey is the dazzling gem of Backland. That's an opinion. That's a good opinion. Audrey rolled her eyes and said with a chuckle, "Is it the way you people from Indus talk?" "Yes, we are never stingy with praise for beautiful things." Bakerland chuckled. "If it wasn't for a style of Lauren Kingdom, I might have called you my angel." Jesus, this guy's cringe, man. This guy's cringe. "Old pervert," Audrey maintained her graceful smile and said, "The people of Lauren Indus are indeed different." "That makes me think of a joke. Please allow me to be presumptuous." Bakerland squinted his eyes and said, "After a good time with a beautiful girl, most Lauren men would say, 'Oh dear, I'd like a cigarette,' but most Indus men would say..." They already paused and Audrey felt tilted her head, trying her best to keep her nausea in check while looking puzzled. What would they say? Most of the Indus men would say, "Oh baby, I have to return now and I can't be discovered by my wife." Shut up! That's so bad! Oh my god! I hate you, 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 man. It's credit because, you know, when people in Lauren Kingdom see a beautiful girl, they're gonna smoke because they're depressed because their wife is so ugly. But in this, they just cheat. Jesus Christ. Ugh. Never say the F word in my chat, please. Do not say the F word in my chat. Beckelin raised his glass and laughed. People who can laugh at themselves always have an additional charm to them, Audrey smiled politely. Her beautiful, clear, dark green eyes suddenly turned to look behind the Ambassador Bakerland. "I'm sorry, our friend is looking for me." "It was a pleasure talking to you." Bakerland bowed and moved aside. Audrey moved forward gracefully and didn't look back again. Just as she was considering who she should find as the object of her excuse, a young gentleman approached her and, lowering his voice, warned her. "Audrey, don't be fooled by that Ambassador Bakerland. He's a dirty old man. I don't know how many women he's tricked into bed." Tricked into bed? That's crazy. You forgot these people are supposed to be the F word? Yeah. Just as she was considering who she... Sorry. Yeah. Bakerland is lustful. This is the line with my observations. This is a weakness. Audrey smiled without hiding her disgust. Ooh! You can tell that to Force and Shio, and then Force can like... Because Force is hot, right? Force can go and like lure Bakerland into bed, and then Shio can just... Boom! Right? Just like execute him in the bed. Judgment! Boom! Kants? Do you have a misconception about me? Goddess, how could I be bewitched by that Ambassador Bakerland? His cologne makes me want to vomit. His words are so foul and his taste is like a male peacock. Kants was a Viscount Lerson's younger son and their family was on fairly good terms with the whole family. Hello, Kants. According to Audrey, Kants had entered MI9 after graduating from Dinger University and had become quite enigmatic. What's MI9? Is it like the MI5 from England, like CIA? The original plan had been to have a chat with Ambassador Backland and observe him up close before using the pretext of separation to get more information from Kants and his other friends from the intelligence community to learn more about him. To her surprise, she didn't need to seek out Kants Learson, and she came over and said the corresponding conversation on his own accord. Your feelings are correct, Kants gave a sincere smile. He surveyed the surroundings and whispered, Besides, Bakerland is a very dangerous fellow. How dangerous? Audrey asked curiously. Have you heard of Beyonders? Kants just drop the Beyonder word on Audrey without like... What the fuck? I mean, Audrey of course knows about Beyonders. She's a Beyonder. She's a esteemed member of the Dallas Club. But Kants, being member of the intelligence MI9, just casually talking about Beyonders like that. I guess, you know, rich circles, they do that, right? I know that you've always been interested in such matters, Kants said with some deliberation. Audrey gently nodded. I know quite a bit. Most of it being told to me by Klein. Why are you throwing Klein under the bus, by the way? Holy. Kans took a glance at Bakerland, who was chatting with an affluent lady, and said with a... I mean, that's true though, because Klein was the one that introduced Audrey to the Beyonder Circle, right? Kans took a glance at Bakerland, who was chatting with an affluent lady, and said with a serious expression, "He's Intis intelligence head in our kingdom. He's done numerous atrocities, but we haven't been able to gather evidence of his crimes. A sequence 9, a conspirer. Sequence 6, oh my god, okay, there we go. Bro is like a spy or like a CIA boss. And in law, and what can conspirer be? First of all, conspirer meaning. Conspirer means a person who is involved in making secret or underhand plans. I see. It peaked in the 1800s, by the way, if you're interested. Conspirer. Tunnel of atrocities, right? Atrocities. I can't say that word. He didn't go into detail like an answer like Audrey, nor did he mention the conspirator was part of the hunter pathway. Sometimes one more line is all it takes, guys. Makes sense because, what was his name? Mary Salt was on the hunter pathway, and the one that gave the potion to Mary Salt was Bakerland. Most times? Yeah, bro. Over Audrey was already aware of this. He vain naivety inside. He's really amazing. He has an assistant in shadows, one that has perhaps reached sequence 5. Oh, okay. In addition to that, all of the Indian intelligence agents in the kingdom are under his management. Many of them are beyonders. Unfortunately, only know a few of them. Kans added in passing. Don't be too happy if Bakerland praises you either. It's not that he truly thinks, he just wants to use the opportunity to gather more information through his just lie. He's a cunning guy, you know? A cunning guy. I don't like what you're saying. Audrey looked up to the ornate chandelier and thought for a few seconds. Is Bakerland very smart? You haven't managed to get any incriminating evidence. He truly is good at scheming, but he's also has other problems. He likes to chase after women and loves the feeling of romance. Frenchy. He has risks. He takes risks and is quite radical. If I wasn't for his independence and as an ambassador preventing us from taking action easily, he would have been captured a long ago. Khan stroked his chin and said, however, he'll be replaced very soon. Very soon. Why? Audrey asked in surprise. My dear beautiful lady, this isn't something you should know. Khan's adhere to the principle of confidentiality. I mean, you are already like yapping so much, Khans. Just tell us more. Come on, Audrey, use your charm. When the ball was almost over, Audrey, who had gathered quite a bit of information, found Viscount Klein and asked him to help her contact Gio and Force. Here we go. Wait, huh? Catching the adulterous act. Ooh, Klein on a mission, bro. Anyway, Bakerland is a very interesting character, and he is a sequence 6 conspirer on the Hunter pathway, which makes more sense now, because he's the one also that, you know, gave out the potion to Mirasol, who was sequence 9 hunter with incredible like fighting abilities, and this makes it more difficult for Force and Geo to take him down. My guess was maybe like Force can seduce him, and then Geo is gonna execute him and give him judgment. But the problem with that is that sequence 6 won't die so easily, right? Unless he's like sleeping, and we can do it very quickly. And also like Backland intelligence and Lower Kingdom intelligence is already like trying to replace him, so I wonder if assassinating him is a good idea. Maybe he's gonna get locked up, but probably can like do and give orders from prison as well. Anyway, next chapter. Force is sequence 9, you're sending him to death. Yeah, that's why I think it's a bad idea now. Be right back, guys. So I had to bring a gold one, if you know what I'm saying. Music is 2 adventures. We're gonna catch the Adulterous Act. It's an adventure of its own. Zero calories, by the way. Music is big. Hello, Masters, how are you? Wednesday morning, opposite the Klein company in the Sherwood Borough. Klein was sitting on a wooden bench outside the Cardinal department store, clutching a paper bag containing the most famous Cindy Desi pie in the area with one hand and holding in a cup of iced tea in the other. Damn, living good life. Beside him, a tramp is a bum, right? Was curled up on the other side of the bench sleeping. 10 minutes later, the mall security guard woke him up and shooted him away. The mall security guard shooed him away. Klein wore gold-trimmed spectacles which didn't provide for any vision correction, and a silk half-top hat. Oh, a cover, right? A cover? Like, yeah. And look too much different from most of the gentlemen around him. I see. Like, you know, he's blending in. He idly looked across the street at the coin company, lifting his right hand and took a large bite of the Cindy Desi pie. He felt a rich aroma gush out and fill his oral cavity. Jeez, that's very descriptive. The reason why this pie from Desi Bay stood out amongst the southern spies was that it used a lot of oil and fat, but the meat was chopped into very thin, tiny bits, which the fat and lean meat mixed together. It didn't feel too heavy. I see. The rich meaty juice seeped into the outer crust, neutralizing the dryness and made up for its shortcomings. Bro, we're getting like a pie description here. The wheat fragrance was clearly brought out, and small pieces of crushed apples were used to stimulate appetite. Oh my god, apples and like meat is the best combo, bro. I swear I'm not pregnant. You need to try it. Like apples, like what's it called? Like apple, crushed up apples, and then put it on like a little bit of meat, like an apple sauce. You know what I mean? Oh, neutralizing the oily taste. It's okay, although the weather isn't good and the pollution is terrible, Backland is far superior to Tingun in many other aspects. Foods of all styles can be found everywhere. There are all kinds of operas and plays available. They can be enjoyed as long as the one isn't afraid to spend money. Although I might not necessarily eat or partake in such entertainment, I have these options at very least. This advantage of a big city. Klein raised his sweetie and took a sip. He never took his eyes off the coin company's entrance. For that £10 he had been sitting there since 8 in the morning. Even his breakfast was bought on the way there. Of course, for most private detectives, a commission of £10 was an absolute enviable business, equivalent to about 3 weeks' salary for a member of the middle class. According to the information provided by Mary Cale, her husband was currently the first manager of coin company and was Luke Sammer's superior. However, the shares in the coin company came from Mary's father and Mary had inherited it. One of the immediate reasons she suspected her husband of having a mistress was that an employee in the company had divulged to her Torago Gale would leave the office on Wednesday and Friday mornings alone and only return in the afternoon. In addition, he would leave work early for 2 days a week, and Mary had never seen her husband return home before 7. What if bro is just going to gamble, in the casino? After breakfast, Klein waited another hour before seeing his target walk out of Coim. He was wearing a black top hat, double-breasted tweed coat, and a standard bow tie. He was slightly fat, with a yellowish temple, slightly brownish eyes, and slightly long face. Torago Kale, he suddenly heard the target's name, stood up, picked up his cane and his heavy portable camera and crossed the road. Instead of getting carriage driver to pick him up, he stood by the side of the road and looked around for a rental carriage. Klein looked at the opportunity to cross the road and arrive beside him. Pretending to be careless, he bumped into his target. "Sorry, I'm quite lost." Klein bowed his head in apology. Give him Oscar, by the way. Drago frowned but remained silent, waving his hand to indicate that it didn't matter. Klein bent down, bowed, and walked to the end of the street. He didn't run into Drago in order to steal his belongings and use the dowsing method to easily track that would be easily noticeable, exactly. Instead, Klein had only done one thing. When he collided with Torago with the help of his agility as a clown, he had secretly slipped a spare button into his pockets of Torago's double-breasted coat. Oh, it's gonna divine the location of the button. Aindu hair is looking good, thank you. Aindu look like one of the Windbreaker characters. Someone said I look like a lesbian, but I don't know about that, man. Those lesbians have this hair? I don't think so. Going around the corner, he stopped and looked back and just in time to see Torago board the rental carriage. Klein was in no hurry to tail him. He waited patiently for a few minutes before slowly getting into another horse carriage and said to the carriage driver, "Just go according to my instructions. Head to the end of the street first." "Alright," the driver didn't ask why. Inside the carriage, Klein leaned his cane and began performing divination. However, his divination statement wasn't directed at Torago Kale. Instead, it became the whereabouts of the spare button of my clothes. That's so, funny. I don't look like a lesbian, thank God. I mean, my haircut. Not me. My haircut. The dowsing rod seeking was originally the most practical technique to find objects. Only seers were able to use to seek people. Now Klein was using it in its original form. That's so smart from Klein. Easiest and most convenient items to find were those that belonged to himself. Along the way, Klein kept getting the carriage driver to change directions until they finally arrived at the street house in the Hillstone Borough. When they first circled it, Klein noticed that there were gardens and lawns behind the house, which was different from the other houses. His dowsing method told him the Torago Kale was inside that house. After paying the due solid fare, Klein walked on the door and with the marble statues outside, he saw two men in black and white plaid uniforms that resembled the police uniform. Oh, what the fuck? "I don't know you, where your proof of membership?" One of them, a brown-skinned man of southern continent blood, stopped Klein. "Proof of membership?" Klein hid his heavy camera behind him and asked with a slight frown. So this guy is, like a circle, or beyond the circle, right? Or maybe some other I don't know, some circle of elites, maybe, I don't know. The brown-skinned man immediately turned stern. "This is the Guila Club. Only our members and up to one of their guests can enter." So, if Klein has proof that he's not cheating, is he still gonna get 10 pounds? Right? And they're solely acknowledged. Then how can I join this club? We can only join after receiving a recommendation from 2 members. The brown-skinned man didn't brutally chase him away, but patiently answered this question. He couldn't guarantee that Klein would end up joining the club eventually. Alright, Klein pursed his lips and decided to put a plan B into motion. He found a hotel near Quila Club and a short stay room for 4 hours. Then he locked the door behind him through the curtains and entered the space of the grey fog. He conjured the yellowish-brown coatskin and fountain pen in front of him. Taking a deep breath, Klein wrote an exact divination sentence before. The whereabouts of the spare button on my clothes. This time he didn't use the dowsing method but the dream divination. So smart, you can see inside. I look more like a redneck. Ah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. The reason why I didn't do it in the real world was because Klein felt that the Quella Club seemed to be quite high-end club, and it suggested that there might be some powerful beyonders inside. Exactly. In order to not waste time, so to get it done once and for all. In the great dreamy world, Klein was the first one to see Durago's black coat, which was hung on a coat rack on the carpet. In front of it was a round table. The scene zoomed out in the sight of a romping man and a woman enter Klein's eyes. What does romping mean? The man was Durago Gale, the woman was shimmering blonde hair who looked rather young. She was in her early 20s at most. Ooh. The pained expression with her knitted brows does not look rather coquettish. Is this like Epstein House or something? Why am I always seeing scenes such as this? Klein covered his eyes and woke up. What does romping mean? Sex? Oh, so he's cheating. They're playing roughly. Oh, engage in sexual activity, especially illicitly. I see, okay. This is like a Epstein house, I guess. Diddy's house. Diddy's club. A woman entered Klein's. This is like a brothel house, I guess. The man was Durago Gale, the woman had shimmering blonde hair who looked rather young. She was in her 20s at most. The pained expression with her knitted brows looked rather coquettish. Why am I always seeing scenes as this? Klein covered his eyes and woke up. Gale was giving back shots to her. Oh my god. The fact that Durago was a mistress is confirmed. How do I get martial evidence? By responding to my prayers, but this is limited to what I can obtain with my own body. I can only do it through sketching and not through the camera. I can't possibly draw a picture with my bare hands, can I? Look, it looks like today I want you. I'll tail the girl and find out her address and name later. I refuse to believe that they'll be inside Koala Club every single time they meet. Detective Klein quickly came up with his next course of action. Golagis to this house, yeah. Just as he was about to leave the mysterious space of the grey fog, suddenly thought of something to take the opportunity to divine if that iron black threadworm which had infiltrated his room was under the control of a beyonder of the seer pathway. Smart! I wonder why didn't he do it earlier? He didn't do so because he felt that the relevant information was too scarce and it was difficult to create something out of nothing which would result in failed divination. It wouldn't have been the same if it was about the grey fog. Furthermore, he had various matters to divine the few times he came up above the grey fog previously. Okay. I didn't have the capacity to bother with such a question. Now that he was free, he decided to do that. It won't hurt to do the divination. Exactly. So the question of whether it was risky to contact Isaac, he had already long divined it. The answer was that it was risky and not something trivial, so he could only use it as his last resort. After writing the corresponding divination statement, Klein removed the silver chain from his sleeve and allowed the topaz pendant to hang over the paper. The iron black thread worm that sneaked into my room was controlled by a beyonder from the seer pathway. After repeating it 7 times, Klein opened his eyes and saw that the spirit pendulum was spinning clockwise, so positive. With great amplitude and frequency. Positive, the answer is positive. Shouldn't it have failed? Klein didn't expect to obtain such an answer. According to the seer instinct, such a divination was likely to fail. I mean, maybe it didn't fail because the person wanted to find it out, maybe, but then again, it should have failed because, you know, he was a really high sequence beyonder, but we'll see. I think it's somehow connected. Why? He found and thought for a while before deciding to switch to different method of divination target. He wanted directly to divine the controller using dream divination. Is that possible even? At the time, Klein saw nothing in his dream. This time Klein saw nothing in his dream and couldn't get the responding revelation about the seer pathway beyond her. That's more like it, he muttered and thought back to the prior divination and fell into deep thought. There should have been a lack of conditions and result in a failed divination, just like the one that followed. Could it be that this mysterious space had failed if in the necessary conditions? Does it contain something of the seer pathway? Oh, the grey fog. Man, my theory was that whoever like made the grey fog from like maybe from the first epoch is called the Lord of Mysteries, right? Maybe that's the god of on the seer pathway, Lord of Mysteries. Does it contain something of the seer pathway? Klein suddenly had a flash of inspiration. He had a bold idea. I told you for my sequence 1, yeah, I'm gonna write it down as well. 31. Sequence 1 of seer is Lord of Mysteries or Fool. That's my two theories, right? I don't know which one I like more. The grey fog, but we don't know that because the grey fog was introduced to Klein before he took the seer potion, right? So the grey fog is more likely to do with transmigration, not the seer pathway, unless those two are not like are mutually because he got the grey fog. There was a vision in his head that leaned him towards the seer potion, and it wasn't a coincidence. Interesting. Does it contain something of the seer pathway? Klein suddenly had a flash of inspiration. He had a bold idea. Perhaps the mysterious space of the grey fog had something to do with the path of the seer pathway. Yeah, I was thinking that too always, but then again, I always think about how he could have chosen the mystery briar pathway or the sleepless pathway when he was given the choice, right? But maybe the grey fog influenced him to pick the seer pathway, and those two are connected. Klein lightly rapped to the edge of the ancient table. Despite thinking about it, he couldn't find any other evidence. He could only temporarily put this matter on hold and prepare for his return to the real world. Also, like, isn't it weird to me that, and weird for you guys, that Rosella has never mentioned the grey fog in his diary before? And that's because, you know, he's a transmigrator. I thought like every transmigrator had access to the grey fog, but maybe Klein is the first one to have access to the grey fog. Otherwise, it will be very likely that Rosella had mentioned it in his diary because he didn't think that anyone will read those diaries because they were written in Chinese, right? And unless, because we only have seen like what, 15 pages in total. Maybe in the future he's gonna mention it. That's one of my theories. How do you know? How do you read in the diary? Exactly, yeah, we haven't read much. We only have read 15 pages. Where is this one? How do you fucking type Roselle? Here, Roselle is going to mention the grey fog in one of his notes. Yeah, we still have a lot of diary pages from Alger we need to read, so... Coincidence? I think not. Is there any other, like... Is there anyone else? There has to be someone else that's like messing with Klein's fate. The same person who transmigrated Klein. Because it can't be just like... It can't be a coincidence that Klein got transmigrated. Because the incantation of that he did on Earth was probably a prayer to a god. Maybe that god was the Lord of Mysteries. And that person answered Klein's prayer, the rock ritual, right? And dragged him into the grey fog and to the world of Loan, whatever this planet is called, I'm guessing. It's the Lord of Mysteries, exactly. Anyway, let's keep reading. Klein, yeah. Regardless, I've confirmed he couldn't find any other evidence. He could only temporarily put this matter on hold and prepare for his return to the real world. The pro thinks he's going back to the real world. Regardless, I'm rooting for him though. Regardless, I've confirmed at least one thing. The meat sequence beyond beside the ambassador is from the seer pathway, and whether he's a member of the secret order doesn't matter. There might be my chance of attaining sequence 7 and even the sequence 6 potion formula. Klein extended his spirituality and wrapped it around him before plunging into the grey fog. Meanwhile, in Viscount Klein's study, let's go, Klein, my favorite apothecary TM soon, right? Did he get the apothecary potion or not? Maybe. Audrey let the master of the study guard the door while she looked at you and forced after a few seconds of silence. She said, I need your help with a mission. What mission? Her eyes lit up as she could smell the ink on the bills. Smell the ink on the bills. She was like, what mission? Audrey gave her a polite smile. Assassinate the ambassador of the Loan Kingdom, Baikul Jean Manon. Okay, cool. Appointee. Anyway, we found out that cheating case. Klein found out that the wife of Mary Gale is going to the Titty house and having sex with other women, right? So I think the Gualag club or whatever is like elite club of like rich men who, you know, have sex with women who are maybe trafficked, right? Because that woman's face was painted apparently. That's very sad. That's fucked up. And now Klein has to get evidence, and also he divined on the entity that intruded his home, found out that it was sent by a Beyonder on the seer pathway, and we'll see what happens next. So let's jump into it, chapter 244. But before that, we need to run an ad. What's up, Otis man? How are you doing? Swingers Club, yeah. Are you gonna release the other live parts from Volume 1? Yeah. If you go to Live tab, they're coming out. New one comes out today, actually. Also, you can send me art for these chapters, guys. There's where is it? There should be a Lord of Mysteries art thread somewhere. I fucking hate threads though. I can never find anything on threads, bro. I don't know, you guys find it somewhere, I guess. Why do you want art on this chapter? Suspicious. Username said he wanted to send some, right? I guess from the Apothecary, the fat guy, and also Eye of Wisdom and Black Snake, maybe, I don't know. Appointee. What? Force touched her earlobes, wondering if she had heard wrongly. The beautiful movie, curious and scattered brain Miss Audrey actually assigned on assassination mission. I mean, who is... Let's think about it. Force is actually a great assassin because she can just break in everywhere, right? Furthermore, the Architect is an ambassador of Intis, a powerful country in the northern continent. She was slow on uptake, as she hesitantly said. Our strength isn't enough to complete this mission. The first thing she considered was the difficulty of the mission. Audrey ignored her question and allowed her to imagine the reason. She said with a faint dimple showing, I'm not asking you to take the job, I'm just wishing for you to find a beyonder with the strength to complete it. For example, Mr. A, I'll pay you 4,000 gold bones for this. Of course, it's only my initial offer. Details are negotiable. Mr. A is probably on the Aurora order, but like having like Mr. and then abbreviation of your name, like A, B, C, D, E, is very common, so it's like 50-50, I guess. It eventually succeeds, I'll pay you 500 pounds. Even if the mission ends up failing, you will receive 200 pounds for the risk you have taken. Damn! Her uninvested annuity and the rest of the bounty was around 13,000 pounds. However, any large utilization of it will then attract the attention of Earl Hall, and even the Warrant Bank would investigate. She had calculated 5,000 pounds for the tipping point, and it was best not to exceed it. Exactly, yeah. 4,000 gold pounds! She heard her own heavy breathing, but she quickly became depressed, knowing full well that she won't be able to complete the mission herself. Just 500 pounds to seek out other beyonders in our names while maintaining that's a secret. Pretty good deal, no? Miss Audrey is one of the most generous and beautiful lady I ever seen. She quickly returned to reality. While feeling enticed, For's mind was filled with questions. Why would Miss Audrey delegate such a mission? Is there some internal strife among nobles? Is there a precursor to initiating a war? If Earl Hall representing some important figure in a bid to make the situation turn chaotic? Notice how Force is very like thoughtful and like thinks about consequences and thinks why this thing is happening, but Chio is like, oh, it's too dangerous. Chio is more like a klutz, as in like she doesn't really think, but I think Chio and Force together are like an unstoppable team, right? Duo quickly contacted Mr. A using a previously agreed upon channel at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the rare sunlight shined through the fog. The fucking smog again, and lit up the whole of Backland. They arrived in the house where they had previously participated in gatherings. They saw Mr. A sitting with his legs up and his hood over his head, but he gave off a condescending air. When I think of sitting with his legs up, it's like sitting on a table with the legs, right? But legs up for me is like a dirty position, so I laughed, that's why. You know what I mean? Like a sex position. Anyway, I'm gonna stop speaking. You said that you have something important to talk to me about. Mr. A's eyes moved back and forth between the two ladies. I heard that the same female beyonders will use their bodies to trade for potion ingredients with Mr. A. You! He really is a disgusting pervert. Forrest curled her lips and said, there's a large transaction. I wonder if you're interested in it. Mr. A scanned Chio's face and chuckled. Tell me, let me see what this large transaction is. Funny because Chio is small, right? Holding back the urge to draw her triangular blade, Chio answered with the tone of an arbiter. Assassinate the Indian ambassador to the Long Kingdom, Baikul and Jean Monan. Mr. A fell silent, but since his expression was obscured by the shadow of his hood, Chio and Forrest couldn't guess what he was thinking. After a while, he slowly leaned back and said with a deep voice, so, what's the reward? 4,000 pounds. In addition, we will provide you the rebel information such as Ambassador Bakerland, Sequence 6 conspirer of the Hunter Pathway, or that his weakness is lust. Chio tried her best to make Mr. A believe that there were hope in completing the mission. Mr. A chuckled and said, I cannot accept this mission, but the reward must be raised. I can accept this mission, but the reward must be raised, of course. Master roar for me? Why? Why do you want him to roar for you? Mr. A chuckled and said, I can accept this mission, but the reward must be raised. The first choice, the potion formulas to Unshadowed. Cataclysmic Interior, Prophet of Manipulator. Prophet! Oh, just Prophet or Manipulator. Manipulator is... Okay, this is insane. What the fuck? Bro. This is insane. We're filling in it so big. We're filling the list. Wait, let me think of this. So, first of all, Unshadowed, that's on the Bard pathway. What's next? Prophet. I always thought this was gonna be like a prophet of something, right? Prophet of, I don't know, prophet of God, I don't know, like something like that, but just prophet? Seer pathway, no. Not a monster pathway. Maybe on Bard pathway then? Unshadowed priest of light, solar high priest. Maybe Seer pathway, but I don't think so. It's not really circusy, you know? Maybe Mystery Prior, Scrolls Professor, Warlock. Reader pathway, maybe? Manipulator. Wait. Cataclysmic Interrorer. What the fuck is an Interrorer? Interrorer is someone who interns or buries the dead. Oh. Maybe Marik is Interrorer, but buries the dead? That's probably on the Gravedigger pathway. Or sorry, Corpse Collector pathway, Death pathway. Death pathway. And Prophet. Bard pathway. Then Manipulator is on the Spectator pathway, I think. Gonna add to my theories. There's way too much to guess, exactly. I'm gonna put it here for now. Is it really clever of Skullfish to put stuff like this in your second read? Yeah, exactly. Second read, like I mean second volume read, or second as in like foreshadowing that you're not gonna know this on the first read. Cataclysmic Interior. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Cataclysm means like end of the world, right? Or like a big like extinction event. A large scale and violent event in natural world, yeah. It's a complete word. What sequences or do you think these are? I just wrote them down here. Cataclysm. Is it a real thing, by the way? If I look this up, do I get load of mysteries? Let me see. Nope. I think I got load of mysteries there. I close it quickly though. Sequences, not pathways, yeah. Cataclysm epoch, true. It's like a really big event in the world. What epoch is our era in? Fifth epoch. Okay, let's continue. We should not tolerate too much. Right? Lord of Mysteries art is on this channel, guys. Send some art here. I also look at this art, it's really cute. 1 second. I love femboys. Anyway, let's continue. The second choice, 10,000 gold pounds. This is the bounty of Vice Admiral Ulrich and Jelangos. Baker and strength definitely isn't as strong as he is, but his powerful allies, or aides. Besides, believe me, definitely has some mystical objects on him. Yeah, definitely, I agree. Did Knight send that? Yep. Wait, 1 second, bro. Mr. A asked for potion formulas to unshadowed, cataclysm material, and prophet, or just manipulator. Do you know what that means? These three are like... Oh wait, never mind. He just wants one of them. Oh. Does he want all of them or one of them? Never mind. My English is bad. So these four potions are they cost like same as 10,000 pounds apparently. Anyway, besides, believe me, he definitely has some mystical objects on him. A reasonable price, but that's also an extravagant price. You and Force looked at each other and said, "We shall return and discuss it. At this time tomorrow, we'll give you an answer." "Sure." Mr. A made a gesture of farewell. After being led out by an attendant, Force murmured in puzzlement, "Those are high-sequence blunder formulas. Frankly speaking, I find it strange. I thought Mr. A would only want formulas or potion ingredients. Money shouldn't be necessity for him." Sus that he asked for 10,000 though. Either one of them? Okay. Not only one of them, I see. Either one of them. Frankly speaking, I find it strange, yeah. Chio turned to look at her friend. "Force, really are a naive clinical doctor and author. You must know that Mr. A has many subordinates. They need a house to sleep in, stomachs to fill, clothes to buy, and the need to vent their desires. All of this was to be bought using money. Besides, to some nobles who have declined, what won't they sell if they are called pounds to be made?" So, So these potions are like probably like sequence 5, 4, 6. That's why they cost like 10,000, right? Because sheriff potion costs 500. Without his men, Mr. A will be just as scary, but he will be rather lacking in intelligence. That's all the small gangs in the East Borough know. Force frowned and said, "Chio, you're not that stupid after all." What? That's a backhanded compliment. What the fuck? In the evening, the two of them met a familiar large golden retriever, Susie, at a predetermined location and passed Mr. A's reply to Audrey. When Audrey finished reading the note, not only did she not feel stumped, she even let out a long sigh of relief. It was simply wonderful to her that she could finish the ambassador with just 10,000 gold pounds. Oh my god, the 4,000 gold was just a start. 10,000 gold is nothing to Audrey. For the time being, I can only use 5,000. I still have to pay Chio and Force 500. Well, first of all, I'll borrow 6,000. No, 8,000 from Klein. I can't expose any problems with my daily expenses. Then I'll pay him back over 4 to 5 months with interest of 1,000 pounds. Wow, Klein about to make the easiest 1,000 pounds ever, by the way. Before the new year, I will be quite poor, having only 1,000 pounds to use a month. Oh my god, poor you. Audrey quickly made her decision, then she burned the original slip of paper and wrote on a new piece of paper. Second option, advance of 2,000 pounds and remaining 8,000 pounds will be paid after the mission is complete. 2,000 pounds, by the way, is a lot of fucking money. I'm just saying, to be paid in advance. Just 10,000 pounds, I know, right? At 15 Minsk Street, Klein saw Mary Kale again in the tea time. He had initiated the meeting through Mrs. Stalin's hammer. "Madam Mary, I found out that your husband went to the Diddy house while tailing him. However, I wasn't able to enter because I'm not a member of the club. Even so, according to my observations, about half an hour after your husband left, only one young lady came out. Her name was Erica Taylor, who lives at 126 New Year Street, Hillstoneboro. She used to work at Klein for a period of time and is currently unemployed. I took a picture of her leaving the Diddy house. She's unemployed, yet she can live in Hillstoneboro," Stalin sneered. Mary wore a gloomy expression as she remained silent for a few seconds. We need Eindu thinking emoji. True. With you, I'm gonna add them. I'm gonna make one and add them. That's a good idea, by the way. You have to obtain material evidence of them being intimate. Oh my god, what? How is Klein gonna do that? Oh, the Diddy Club, right? I get 2 members to nominate you as a member, but you must fill in your particulars as famous detective. I can't let people to bring you in because it might not mesh well with the schedule of others. Wait, she's a member of the Diddy Club as well? Interesting. I'm guessing Taylor is also a member of the Diddy Club, but maybe it's not a swingers club then. Maybe it's actually just a Gulag club, okay? Let's stop calling it a Diddy Club then. Alright, Klein hesitated, but still asked, who will you pay the club fees? I will be responsible for the initial fees. This is in return for your efficiency. If you wish to remain in the club, you have to pay the annual fee of about £15 yourself. There seemed to be a fire burning in Mary's eyes. The fee of £15 in a year, and the initiation fee is at least £50, a high-end club. Madam Mary, you sure are generous, Klein immediately nodded. I will provide you with evidence as soon as possible. Klein is gonna go in the just a normal club. Okay, sure. They just met through the club, I guess. That's what happened. Anyway, Klein is gonna go to the truth with this huge ass camera and be like, click, and then, you know. After dinner, Klein went out again and continued to the Bravehearts bar in Backland Beach area. There were two reasons for this. First, he wanted to show his helplessness in front of the military special department and the police who were observing him in secret. He wanted to appear as though he was trying every method to save himself. Second, he also wanted to deceive the meat sequence beyonder from the sea pathway under the ambassador's command. So basically, Klein is going to act weak and fragile, right? In matters involving the Grey Folk, Klein believed that the gentleman of lady would never be able to succeed in a divination, including his own resurrection and past events, as well as how he had successfully created the language of foulness charm through the help of the true creator. I think so too, because the Grey Folk is protecting you from there. This is definitely a powerful item that can affect my opponent. Klein had to maintain his act of feeling unsafe and his act of madly grasping at all kinds of straw to mislead his opponent in order to increase his chances of victory. Under the dark night, Klein entered the bar. Before he could get a beer, he saw Caspers, the old man with the brandy nose, standing in front of the rat-baiting ring, his arms crossed. Perfect timing. Marek is looking for you. Casper spotted Klein and limped over. Oh, it's about what happened, right? Marek is looking for me? Klein asked in shock. Instinctively, he touched the Azic's copper whistle in his pocket and considered what excuse he could use to politely decline the meeting. Or could it be that wrapping the copper whistle with one's spirituality wouldn't cause any zombie-like phenomenon? It wasn't like Mr. Azic hadn't been in the cemetery before, nor had any corpse attacked him, Klein tensed up. Before he could come up with an excuse, he saw Marek, his face pale and his eyes filled with malice, walking over. He wasn't surrounded by any zombies. Where are his zombies? Klein thought with a mixture of puzzlement and relief. I think for your last visit kind of fucked the zombies up, right? Marek pointed at the guard room and walked toward there first. He looks angry, by the way. Eyes are full of malice. Klein looked into the distance and followed him since there were no zombies. What's the matter? Klein took the initiative to ask. Marek, in a black vest and white shirt, sat on a card table and stared into Klein's eyes. Does that job of yours still stand? Oh, what the fuck? Does that job of yours still stand? Huh? Klein wasn't able to react in time. I have a friend who is short of money and is willing to accept this commission. She's stronger than me. She? And she'll be able to protect you. However, she can only protect you for 3 days. Klein visited here. Bro had like nosebleeds and stuff. Was that because of the copper whistle, or maybe it was because of that woman? I guess we'll find out, right? Why is a Beyonder willing to accept the mission only after I acquired the language of foulness? Oh, because maybe she knows. However, this is good as well. This will be able to confuse the ambassadors beyonder after he painstakingly defeats Marek's friend. My chances of success will become extremely high. The only problem is determining if Marek is friend is trustworthy. I'll go about the grey folk to divining. Klein pondered for a moment and said, give me time to consider it and save up the necessary funds. It's not a small sum. Also, it's best if the person is protecting me is hidden. It must be confidential. As for 3 days of protection, it's up to me. It's definitely within these 2 weeks. Of course, the sea won't definitely be aware of it, Klein slightly added. As for money, he had already considered it from the beginning. If selling mere souls beyond their characteristics wasn't enough, he would ask Miss Justice for money. Miss Justice is brokey. After all, he had made the preparations. Roselle's diary still had a lot of knowledge that could be sold. Of course, if the price was simply unacceptable, he could forego it. Music stop. Sure. Now, although mirror souls beyond their characteristics had become the language of foulness, charm, I still have to Miss Justice. She still owes me the sum needed for Sequence 8 light supply, and as well as the intelligence regarding the secret order. Combining this together, £1,000 will be enough. At the end of this fucking chapter, or this volume, fucking Audrey's allowance is gonna be £10 a week, and, you know... That's funny, because Audrey doesn't have any money anymore. So who is that Beyonder woman who wants to protect us? Is it someone we know, or definitely no new character?
Just leave me there, dreaming.
Ay, ay, ay. You saw nothing. Let's keep reading. Back home at 15 Main Street, Klein was in no hurry to head about the grey fog to perform a divination. Instead, he acted as though nothing had happened. In the process, he had heard an illusory prayer and vaguely recognized it as a woman's voice. After experiencing the ravaging rumors of the true crater, my ability in this aspect has apparently improved a little. Klein turned the newspaper while engrossed in thought and settled himself in the reclining chair in the motionless, half-slumped state. He waited until the clock nearly struck 10 before putting down what he was doing and went to the bathroom on the second floor to clean himself up. Entering the bedroom and pulling the curtains shut, Klein went about the grey fog. He saw that the crimson star symbolizing justice was constantly expanding and contracting, and it was also echoing with prayers. Klein spread out his spirituality and made contact. Dressed in a white silk nightgown, Miss Justice had appeared in front of him. Her figure was still blurry as if she was in bed. After assigning his honorific name, Audrey got to the chase. Ambassador Bakerland is a Sequence 6 conspirer of the Hunter pathway. He's suspected to have a Sequence 5 assistant. After I obtained a detailed information, I got summoned to inquire Mr. A. He has agreed to accept the assassination mission, but the conditions are 10,000 cold pounds or any of the potion formulas of Unshadowed, Cataclysmic Interior, Prophet and Manipulator. They do not need to be complete. A portion of the formula will suffice, jeez. I chose the former and paid advance of 2,000 pounds, Honorable Mr. Full. Is my decision correct? 10,000 cold pounds? The corner of Klein's lips twitched as he forced himself to focus on the matter. The Sequence 5 assistant should be that Seer pathway infiltrator. I guess so. Sequence 5 beast tamer then? The first thing that should be done is to overestimate the enemy. Will Mr. A have the ability to do it? Will he neglect the job after taking the money? What if he just runs away with like the 2,000 pounds, right? Cataclysmic Interior, Prophet, Manipulator and Unshadowed are likely Sequence 4s. Ah, I see. Manipulator is Sequence 4 of Spectator, right? I don't know about Prophet and Cataclysmic Interior or Interer. It's very likely that Mr. A is one of the 22 oracles of the Aurora Order. Yeah, that's likely. To be stationed in the capital of capitals, Packland, means that he is second only to the 5 saints of the Aurora Order's upper echelons. He must be the cream of the crop among the oracles. Okay. The Aurora Order reveals the secret suppliant pathway, which is the direct route to the true crater. As an oracle, he has a high probability of being a beyonder of the sequence chain. Based on Blackland's position, it can be inferred that he's Sequence 5 Shepherd. Just like, oh, interesting, because the Beyonder item for Chilangos also was from Shepherd, right? Do I have that written down even? Let me check. Let me double check, guys. I don't. Interesting. Very interesting. Of course, he would also be a Rose Bishop that one sequence is lower, but that will mean that he's more outstanding in other aspects, such as his intelligence. I have to remind Miss Justice that she shouldn't have too many interactions with Mr. A. The Beyonders of the Secret Sublime sequence are either already lunatics exhibiting abnormalities or lunatics who have hidden their insanity well, almost without exception. Sequence 8 listener in the sequence pathway often hear the voice of the true creator. Yes, only a lunatic will be bold enough to accept the mission of assassinating an Intis ambassador and have the courage to complete it. Exactly, dude. I have here a portion of the Unshadowed potion formula, as well as the corresponding ritual needed for the advancement. This can save Miss Justice's 10,000 cold pounds. Why would Mr. A only need the formulas of Unshadowed, Cataclysm, Interior, Prophet, and Manipulator? Are these paths that can be swapped at high sequence of the secret suppliant pathway? Ooh, that's a bit too much. That makes it 5 in total. Yeah, true. Because it's like 2 others. Every pathway is like 2 other pathways they can switch between, right? Sequence 6 revealed for Shepherd. Oh, Roche. Yeah. True. Yeah. Roche Bishop. Yeah, true. I don't know. I glanced over that. That's so true, by the way. Sequence 6, Rose. Thank you. Rose Bishop. But that doesn't mean, if there's 5 here, it doesn't mean that 2 of them... Wait, what? Wait, 1 second, let me think again. This is 4. What did Blood mean by 5? Oh, if it's counting Shepherd, I guess. If it's counting the, not Shepherd, sorry, the light suppliant pathway, then it's 5. But that doesn't mean that 2 of them still might be, you know, switchable or connected to light suppliant. Unshadowed is from the Eternal Blazing Sun. Cataclysm there sounds like it's from the Lord of Storms. Does it? Or maybe the Evernight Goddess. Yeah, true. I previously determined that the Eternal Blazing Sun, Lord of Storms, and the God of Knowledge and Wisdom have pathways that are relatively similar. Therefore, they view each other with animosity. From the looks of it, Cataclysmic Interior belongs to the Lord of Storms and the sequence 4 of the Sailor sequence. Prophet is likely from the God of Knowledge and Wisdom. Which pathway does the Manipulator belong to? Spectator. Okay. Klein is cooking harder than me. Of course. He has brain cells, I don't. Anyway. I guess maybe he's cooking here and this is correct, but this is just him guessing, right? I guess I'm gonna write it down and like put a question mark, right? I think that's the best. Also Spellsinger of God here. Sequence 4. Cataclysmic Interior. Question mark. Wait, God of Knowledge and Wisdom. No, mystery. No. That was sorry. It was the hidden sage. What was wisdom and God of Wisdom and knowledge again? Can please someone say? Reader. Oh. I even said Prophet might be reader, by the way. Sequence 4. Prophet. Question mark. Let me just... Yeah. Then which pathway does Manipulator belong to? I'm gonna write that down to Spectator, I think. Because the Spectator pathway is like full of cast lighting, is that right? Question mark. Also, Manipulator and the light supply pathway is kind of similar, no? Like we have Spectator, then we have Listener, right? Aren't they like similar? They are similar. So maybe they're overlapping pathways and you can switch between them. That's what I'm thinking. Not light supply, sorry. I don't know what I said. Why is it light suppliant? Wait, listener. I'm confused. Secret suppliant. Sorry, I mixed those two up. Secret suppliant, listener, and rose bishop. Yeah, this kinda low key fits. Also, the spectator as well. What do you think Mr. A asked for those specific pathways? Because a few of them are overlapping, but there's like he asked for 4 different ones, right? And only 2 can overlap, or so far that we know of. But I think it's confirmed 2 can overlap. So I'm thinking one of them is manipulator. Can overlap with secret suppliant. And maybe prophet, maybe reader. I'm not really sure. I don't think it's sailor. I don't think it's sailor either. Hopper is trying to give me assist, by the way. But what was the... Yeah. The unshadowed also. Let me read the pathway quickly. Light suppliant, solar high priest, beast of light, unshadowed. Maybe this overlaps with reader pathway because of like prophet and reader. Solar high priest though. Yeah, we need to get more info on the other sequences, I guess. Anyway. Okay, and they don't have the complete pathway of secret suppliant, right? I'm pretty sure that was mentioned they don't have the complete pathway. Yeah. Or the maybe the Aurora Order might be working together with other orcs, and they have like, and those orcs asked for those potions so they can trade for a potion they want as well, right? That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, it'll be interesting if they can all be exchanged to the sequence corresponding to the true creator. Yes, I cannot keep the unshadowed form of Mr. A, not even abortion. The Aurora Order members are all lunatics who are always looking for opportunities to take revenge on the world, to determine public safety. Items of tragic importance must not be treated with them. This isn't just a question of the bottom line, it also involves my own safety. Once the time is ripe, those lunatics from the Aurora Order might very well sacrifice the entire city. True. But this is Klein assuming Mr. A is from the Aurora Order, which only connection he has is the name. Let Miss Justice spend the 10,000 pounds then. Part of it includes the payment she would like to give to my blessed. The rest can be made up with her knowledge I already know. Klein reached out and pinched his cheek. He didn't reply to Justice immediately, instead he ensured the pen and paper ready to make a divination. Klein had no idea who Marek's friend was. He could only tell from the pronoun she that the person was a woman. Failure was inevitable if he wanted to directly divine the reliability of the person in question. However, Klein could make an indirect divination regarding his own safety, which would have much higher success rate. As for whether he would suffer interference or how accurate the outcome would be, he wasn't worried at all thanks to the Grey Fox shielding. After more than 10 minutes of deliberation, Klein wrote, "It's risky for me to hire Marek's friend to be my bodyguard for 3 days." Putting the pen away, he removed his spirit pendulum, focused his mind, and quickly performed the divination. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the topaz pendant was rotating clockwise. However, the amplitude was very small and its speed very slow. A certain risk, but it's quite low. Interesting. Reliable. Klein nodded slightly and changed to divine about Mr. A. Ask if he's Aurora Order to get like direct confirmation. Similarity had no direct contact with Ray, and he all knew was based on descriptions and inference. It was difficult to find out whether or not he was capable enough or willing to keep his promise. All he could do is to make an indirect divination. Yeah, maybe he's gonna run off with a 2,000 pounds, you know? It's risky for his wallet, exactly. As an excellent seer, Klein quickly determined the direction, and that was the divine ambassador Bakerland. This ambassador had relatively more connections with him, and the information he had about him was even more detailed. Klein knew very well that the other party was involved in As a divination target, there were no problems. After some thought, Klein wrote, Baker and Jean Monan will have his life threatened by Mr. A. To prevent it from failing, he tried his best to make the words vague in his low-confidence divination didn't require a definite answer. Last time, Klein saw the spirit pendulum was still rotating clockwise, but it had become faster and the amplitude had increased. It means that Mr. A will attempt to complete the mission and that there's a good chance of success. Ooh. Klein slowly exhaled and began to respond to Mrs. Justice's prayer. Sure, there's no problem with your decision. You absolutely must not show yourself when entrusting this mission. My blessed wishes for £1,000 for these activities. It will be done in the same way as before, and it will be best if it can be completed by tomorrow. This will be the payment for the light supply and formula. You do not need to seek out news regarding the secret order any further. However, if you obtain any relevant information, I will do a trade with you. After learning that the infiltrator was a beyonder in the seer pathway, Klein's need for information about the secret order became less urgent. He originally wanted to ask for more than £1,000, but in consideration of how Miss Justice had to pay £10,000 to assassinate the ambassador, it was likely that her finances would be stretched to the limit, therefore only asked for the minimum. Yeah, very considerate of you, by the way. Very considerate of you. After doing all of this, Klein didn't linger and immediately returned to the real world. Audrey was holding a music score and humming a melody. The red moon was faintly discernible outside the window. Suddenly a thick grey fog appeared in front of her. A figure sitting in an ancient chair looked down at her and spoke in a low voice. Oh, this is Audrey's POV. I see. Audrey let out a breath of relief after hearing Mr. Fool's response. She was no longer as nervous as she was. £10,000. My debt to Mr. Fool is close to being paid off. I feel so much more relaxed suddenly. Audrey rested to the music score again, her chest, and thought with her dimples showing. She's smiling, right? That's what it means, dimple showing. Audrey hauled the adult club wallet, exactly. Oh, I feel bad, man. Although she only had £1,000 to spend for quite a considerable period of time in the coming days, being put in a tight financial situation. Girl. You said £1,000 a month is low. Like, just don't buy a new dress for a month. All she needed to do was grit her teeth, and squeezing out £1,000 wouldn't be a problem. I'll borrow more from Klein and drag it out with more installments. Audrey had quite a good education in finances. After all, her father was a powerful banker behind the scenes, yeah. Poor Klein, man. I mean, Klein is getting like free interest, so never mind. Freest money for Klein ever, doing nothing. 100k, by the way, I know, right? £1,000 is literally... I don't know why I'm taking a calculator for this, but £1,000 is... literally 181k. Bro, I make like 1,000 euros and I live pretty comfortably, even though... Imagine if you have 10,000, 100,000, 81,000 per year though. Per month, sorry. That's crazy. Anyway, at noon on Thursday, I mean, hey, I asked even more. He gets like 5,000 a month? Or 10,000, what was it? So 1.8 million a month in allowance, or like from his father. Insane. At noon on Thursday, Klein heard another illusory prayer. He then confirmed that Miss Justice had deposited the money into his anonymous account. The bank reconciliation and liquidation done in background could be completed in the same day, meaning that from Friday, Klein would be able to withdraw the cash from any bank branch in the city. Oh, same day transfer? That's crazy. It's just her pocket before her birthday. Yeah. After lunch, Klein once again saw Mary Gale. She led him outside the Quilla Club where the two members were waiting. One was a well-known surgeon, Oron Ceres. Oh, I remember him. Ceres was mentioned before. Well, there was the aristocratic equestrian teacher, Talim Dumont. Frenchie detected. Dalim Dumont. After greeting each other, on the lanky and somewhat aloof doctor wearing gold-trimmed glasses entered the club first, leaving the equestrian teacher Dalim, who had short brown curly hair, to converse with Klein amidst smiles. If it wasn't for Mary mentioning you, I wouldn't have known that background had an additional outstanding detective join its ranks. If there's anything I need to do in the future, I'll look for you. Connections, networking, Then let me thank you in advance, Klein smiled in response. According to Mary's introduction to the carriage, he learned that Talim was originally of noble blood. His grandfather had a noble title of Viscount, but it was a pity that his grandfather had squandered all his wealth gambling. His father had nearly 10 brothers and more than 6 sisters, and as a nobles whose titles were determined by the amount of land they possessed, once the amount of land were beneath a particular standard, the hereditary nobility title would be reduced. However, that was also dependent on the king's mood, I see. Talim was unlike the other children of nobility who could obtain a considerable sum of money when they reached adulthood, and due to his grandfather's reputation, he had no means of entering the government as an employee or to be butler of another noble family. Therefore, he could only play to his advantages and become an equestrian teacher for many nobles. His income was quite sizable, with about £400 a year. Yeah, that's pretty good, man. £400 a year is pretty good. Forgot he had curly hair. That makes my mental image of him. I see. Sigh, divorce really leads to poverty. It was unknown if Talim was hinting at Mary Gale's situation, or if he was reminded of his grandfather, who seemed to be more of Intis ancestry. I fucking called the Frenchie. I called it, man. £400 a year. That's like $60,000, right? $72,000 a year is pretty good, right? And you have to consider that the affordability and the prices are different, you know. Talim has short brown curly hair. Someone's knocking. What the frick? Be right back. Someone's knocking on my door. I'm gonna get assassinated. Neighbor is drilling. Doing construction, I guess. Unable to engage in the conversation, Klein followed him into the Quella Club, where he saw a large, brightly lit hall. Okay, interesting. One second, let me think, by the way. Let me think. Anyway, I'm guessing Klein is gonna go with the detective thing with, you know, Mary. And then we're gonna see him hire the bodyguard. Maybe she's gonna be named in this episode or this chapter. I wonder. I hope so, because I'm really interested. And yeah, I mean, let's read. Audrey also took the mission to Mr. A. The knocking is so distracting, by the way. It doesn't bounce. And the fool gets also £1,000 right now from Audrey as well. So let's see. If you enjoyed the stream, please like the stream, by the way. Aaron is a surgeon. I see. So Mary wasn't part of the club because she didn't give the recommendation. So Aaron and Talim both had to give the recommendation. So Mary is not part of the club. She, not he. Stop misgendering. I'm not doing it on purpose. My language has no gendered pronouns, right? Which is, you know, a superior language. Because we don't have, like, it's easier to learn, I guess. Anyway, Aaron and Talim left the Gulag Club after they separately completed the nomination form. It wasn't a weekend. The former had 2 more operations in the afternoon, and the latter had to teach Viscount youngest son, Conrad, you got fucking mentioned, youngest son horse riding. The teenager needed to ensure that he didn't embarrass himself during the backland social events in the second half of the year. Klein watched the valet, is that how to pronounce it? The valet, dressed in red vest and made in a beautiful dress, come in and go a few times before finally delivering him his own proof of membership and a badge with the symbol of the frost constellation engraved on it. Interesting. Entry fee of £50. There are still 3.5 months left this year with an annual fee of £4 a year. The valet in the red vest pushed the two objects to Klein. Klein took out the £57 which Mary had given him and handed him £54. Oh, plus £3! The amount beyond the entry fee and annual fee was Mary's first payment. She was very pleased with how quickly Klein obtained information on Dorago Kale's mistress as well as her photo. £50 membership. Madame Mary is such a generous milady. While Klein watched the wallet and the maid verify the money and confirm the exact amount, he recalled Stellin Sammer's private introduction. Mary's father was a co-founder of the coin company and had 20% stake. It was originally a small company that barely made money, but as backland's pollution worsened and the demand of anthracite and charcoal increased, the company rapidly expanded to become one of the top 10 companies in the capital industry. As such, Mary's net worth skyrocketed. Interesting. Just got rejected from Oxford. I'm sorry, man. Non-gendered language, yeah. I think it's only a few languages that don't have gender. Like the Uralic languages, like Finnish, Hungarian, Estonian. What else? English. No, English has English has he and she. Anyway. The only problem there was that when she was married to Dorago Kale, the company was still quite an unknown company. Her father hadn't paid much attention to using the chairs as her dowry and didn't proceed with any protection of estate gifting and had instead used the more popular willing of gifts. When you have like stakes in a company, by the way, that worth like money, that's like basically fake money. You can take loan, very low interest loan from a bank because you can give your stocks and stakes in a company as like a back burner. And then you basically manipulate money. And when you have like 2 million capital or $1 million of capital, it's basically an infinite money glitch, right? The former referred to the dowry as an independent and separate estate of the woman and not so subjected to her husband's control. Even the right of use depended on the woman, while the latter assigned the dowry ownership to the entire family. However, the husband had to immediately make a valid will to promise that if he passed away before his partner, the split of the estate would due to 4 times the rights and interest of the dowry received. Interesting. After which the rest will proceed according to the normal inheritance laws, which could effectively guarantee the livelihood of the widow. I see. Okay, to make a good old contract. If Mary initiated a divorce before she could get evidence of Dorago's adultery, the coin company shares would be divided equally between both parties. Klein remembered Stellin saying enviously, the current value of those shares is currently close to 20,000 gold pounds. Adding the other property in their name, Mary is truly wealthy lady. Once she divorced, she will definitely become the target of many men in Backland, including some nobles. Ooh, let's go, Mary. I'm rooting for him. For her, sorry. Jeez. Chinese are gendered that he and she, it's pronounced the same but written differently. Ah, I see. That's interesting. Economics and finances with India. There's only enough money for Miss Justice to assassinate Ambassador Beckel, and twice Klein suddenly thought about that when he saw the red-vested valet and the good-looking maid bow at him. The thing is, like Mary and whatever, they're like the top 1%, but Audrey is like the top 1% of the top 1%, right? Mr. Moriarty, welcome to the Klein Club. Upon hearing this, Klein picked up the proof of membership and the frost badge. The former was made of elastic paper which looked like a card with Klein's name and his membership start date on it. After applying an imprint of his index finger, the proof of membership was officially ready for use. The latter was the Klein Club distinctive badge named for its founding in early November, which corresponded to the month of the frost constellation. The symbol and the number 192 were printed on the front, followed by Sherlock Moriarty imprinted on the back. Interesting. The club now has 192 members. Klein asked casually. Yes, our club doesn't accept people without recommendation. The red-vested valet beamed and reduced on the introduced. On the first floor, there's a buffet, cafeteria, bar, library, squash room, conference room, and the card room. You can use all for free. The food and wine are free for your sampling as well. There are 16 lounge rooms and 2 small conference rooms on the second floor. They're also free and can be used as long as they aren't occupied. Ooh, pretty good deal. What the fuck? That's a really, really good deal. The good-looking maid pointed to the rear and said, "The rear of what?" "There are 2 tennis courts, on the lawn, totally free of charge. There are 2 shooting ranges underground, and you only need to pay the corresponding rental fee of the equipment." Interesting. If you aren't satisfied with the simple buffet, you can order a la carte. You can order a la carte. We have an exclusive chef, and you just need to pay for the ingredients. Whoa, interesting. Board, lodging, and entertainment are all provided for, as expected of high-end club. Klein sincerely thanked Mrs. Mary. He smiled warmly and said, "Send someone to show me around so that I can familiarize myself with the environment. After, give me a lounge to take afternoon nap." "All right," the red-vested valet made an inviting gesture. Interesting. When we saw like the husband of Mary giving back shots to that woman, obviously her face, Klein described, was displeased. So I was wondering if, she was trafficked or something, right? But she might as well just do it for money, right? Because she got unemployed, but she still lives like a high-end house. And rich people, when they are like horny and lustful, they will pay a lot of money to like, smash, right? The thing with Chinese languages, by the way, you have to learn so much like Hanji, right? Yeah. After familiarizing himself with the Guela Club's environment, Klein entered the lounge and carefully studied the layout of the place. He discovered it was similar to a hotel room of the later generation. It was said to be decorated in the Inti style. Ugh. I have to consider how to obtain evidence of Tarago's affair tomorrow. It's simply impossible to hide the flash of the camera. In other words, I only have one shot at taking a picture, and if I do that, I'll definitely be kicked out of the club. I have to think of a safe way. I'll read through the papers later and try to determine the progress regarding Ian's case through the news. From there, I can determine which 3 days I shall be guarded. Klein paced back and forth, lost in thought. Bro is thinking about 10 things, like 10 things at once. Even prostitution? Yeah, exactly. Anzi is Chinese, kanji in Japanese. Exactly, yeah. At that moment, his heart suddenly palpitated and it didn't stop. Is this premonition of the clown? True. However, there are no scenes in my mind. Klein felt the air around him turn still, like it was the calm before the storm. Oh, there's a Beyonder maybe in the Gulag? Not Gulag, sorry. Guelag Club. Soon this feeling disappeared as if nothing had happened. Is he thinking about... because of the bodyguard, or someone in this place is a Beyonder maybe? Could it be that danger is approaching, but nothing like this happened when I was attacked by Mersault? Puzzled, Klein pulled out a coin and divined if he would be attacked in the next few days. The answer was negative. So what was that about? Interesting. What's up, Seraph? And Hanya in Korean? Ah, I see. Could it be that danger is approaching, but nothing like this happened when I was attacked by Mersault? Yeah. After thinking for a few seconds, Klein threw the curtains and pretended to take an afternoon nap. He took 4 steps counterclockwise and bent over the grey fog. He sat down and pondered for a long time before muttering to himself, I will be in the grave danger in the next few days. After repeating the statement, he flicked the coin again and saw the copper-colored object tumble down and land in his open palm. This time the portrait of the king was facing up. It meant positive. Oh, his divination on the coin was disturbed outside the grey fog. Someone was trying to disturb his divination, so he will get negative answer and fall for their trap. But of course, because Klein is cheating, he can go to the grey fog and divine it again. But actually, it was just now really, it was an omen that danger is coming. Klein narrowed his eyes and leaned back in his chair. He was rather puzzled by this matter. So it has to be someone with the ambassador Bakerland Madame Jean, right? But at the same time, obviously, Ince doesn't know that Klein is alive. So it's not about inns, it has to be about Bakerland. I was such a puzzle in this matter, whether it was a seer or clown, they had never displayed such an abilities before. Even if he could predict danger, it was because the target was right in front of him or beside him. There was nobody around me. From the fact that my divination was misled, it must have involved a relatively high sequencer, most likely beyond Bakerland's assistant. In the end, it actually gave me a premonition. This isn't scientific, this doesn't make mystical sense, there must be something else behind it, but I can't be certain why yet. Klein looked around and saw the boundless four, crimson and still, the palace standing as it always stood. What if like some other high sequence beyonder is looking out for Klein? Maybe the same like Lord of Mysteries who transmigrated him. And this is the first time like he gave an assist to Klein maybe. What's up, Yua? Thank you. He reined in his doubts and temporarily stopped thinking about the reason. Instead, he focused his attention on the attack that was about to occur. After several more divinations, Klein found out that he could only confirm that there will be even great danger in the next few days. It couldn't be shortened to 3 days, 2 days, or even 5 hours. Oh shit. Oh shit. Other words, he could only obtain a somewhat fake revelation. In a dream divination, he saw Ian dressed in his old coat standing in the street with the elegant gas lamp and the blurry crimson moon behind him. I fucking love Ian though. Other than his image, there was nothing else. How should I interpret this? Interpret this. Klein thought for a moment. He could only assume that this was the prelude to danger. So something to do with Ian. Maybe you meet up with Ian again. Also, Ian has a mystical, or sorry, not mystical, a beyonder artifact that he stole from Bakerland. You got involved and then you get attacked. Without further delay, he turned to the real world, left the Quella Club and went to the nearby Hillstorm branch of the Backland Bank to withdraw the remaining £100 from his account. The sum of £1,000 from justice hadn't been cleared yet and reconciled. Without the corresponding information sent to the branches, the count wasn't synchronized, and directly speaking, there was a loophole. Klein could withdraw £100 from another branch and seize the opportunity when all the accounts were out of sync. Oh my god. What are you scheming, man? Maybe you're wrong, maybe you're in somewhere in between. Exactly. However, this only in theory. In order to avoid similar acts, the banks had many rules on anonymous accounts. First, it was to enhance. Also, bro, his life is in danger and he's thinking about swindling more money from the bank. That's crazy. However, this was only a theory. In order to avoid similar acts, the banks had many rules on anonymous accounts. First, it was to enhance the transmission of similar information in the same city. Second, it was a limit to a single withdrawal to no more than £500. And third, in the last withdrawal wasn't done locally. A telegram was needed to inquire about it. And today Klein encountered the third situation. Putting away the money, he took a horse carriage to the Backland Bridge area and entered the Braveheart's bar. Under Casper's guidance, he saw Marek sitting in the guardroom. He wasn't surrounded by zombies. Where are the zombies? Klein discarded the idea of using his speciality to wrap Ozzy's copper whistle, slapped the £100 on the table, and said to Bill Marek, I agree to the deal. So, interesting here. When was the last time that Klein used Spirit Vision, by the way? Like 20 chapters ago? Why is he not using it more? On like, you know, maybe on during the Beyonder meeting with the Black Snake? Maybe because he's already better at like understanding them without using Spirit Vision. Anyway, I'll pay an advance of £100. I'll pay another £300 every additional day I'm protected. Oh my god, all Audrey's money is gonna go to the bodyguard. The protection begins now. Marek's gaze fell past him and landed somewhere behind him. Nodded and said, alright, she has agreed. Where is she? What the fuck? Oh, Klein turned back in surprise only to see the wall and nothing but air. He secretly activated Spirit Vision. Okay, speak of the devil, by the way. Spirit Vision right here. He but failed to discover anything. Marek stuffed the £100 in his pocket and said indifferently, you can return now. She has begun protecting you in a hidden way. Is Pro scamming us? If I hadn't divined this before, and I would definitely think of all of you as cheats. Yeah, Klein did do that. Klein surveyed the surroundings and deliberately acted as though he felt with clenched teeth. Now that Beyonder woman is always watching Klein for 3 days, I wonder, like, is she actually always here, and what sequence that can be? Is she just invisible, or is she like surveying Klein from far away? But then again, when there's danger, how can she reach this place quickly? What sequence is she? Is she sequence 5, sequence 4? Along the way, he could occasionally activate and deactivate his spirit vision, constantly observing the outside through the carriage windows, but didn't find any so-called bodyguard. What the fuck? This is interesting. What if she's sequence 1? Yeah, I mean, why will the sequence 1 need 1,000 pounds though? Can she see like Klein in the bathroom? Exactly. Back at 15 Main Street, Klein closed the door, went in the bathroom and turned the tap and washed his hands. What if it's like the Evernight Goddess or something? He was pretending to be a normie at the gathering. Exactly, true. She was acting like also like very recklessly and acted like he didn't know anything. Oh, this like when he sold Mirror Soul's like bionic characteristics, he's like, oh, this piece of meat jelly has mystical magic to it, or like mystical feel to it, basically. The sound of water splashing disappeared as he shook off the water droplets and wiped his palms with a towel. Then he raised his head to look at himself in the mirror to inspect his appearance. At this moment he saw himself passing away in the mirror, before transforming into a woman wearing a black regal dress. Klein? The woman had light golden hair and blue eyes. Ooh, she looked very delicate, but her face was abnormally pale. Light golden hair and blue eyes, interesting. She wore a small black bonnet, lifting her skirt and bowed at Klein. This without hiding his surprise. Klein took a few steps back and leaned against the wall. Is she beautiful? Okay, she's not on the assassin pathway, okay. Otherwise, it would be like glazing how like beautiful she was, right? This without hiding his surprise. Klein took a few steps back and leaned against the wall. Only then did he realize that this might be the bodyguard he had hired for 1,000 pounds. The image in the mirror quickly dimmed and Klein saw himself again. Everything had been restored back to normal. She was just saying hello, you know? She was just saying hello to Klein, not to scare her. Anyway. We got a bodyguard for 3 days. Very cool. I do think that someone who is gonna attack Klein very, very soon, but that someone might also realize that Klein has hired somebody. If that person is sequence 5, like Seer, they can probably tell that and divine that Klein is being protected. Same way how Klein always divines like, oh, I'm not gonna be safe, I'm gonna get attacked, do I succeed in killing him? Same way the sequence 5 Seer is gonna do that, and you know, we're gonna see if the sequence 5 is going to take a different approach. You know, there might be a case where Klein took on the bodyguard, and now the sequence 5 series is not going to attack Klein because they know that Klein is protected. If Klein didn't do that, then Klein would have get killed. So it's like taking a precaution, right? And then maybe they don't even have to fight. Anyway, this was the last chapter today. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna look at the art. We read 9 chapters today. We're gonna read on Friday. We're gonna do like 10 chapters. I wanna reach chapter 300 before the end of the month. Let's look at some art now. Under mommy. Sorry, that was weird. Okay, art. Ooh, there's so much art. Love you guys. Oh, this is Summer. Thank you, No Cover, by the way. We saw Summer before, but Summer is so beautiful, man. Divination is not all powerful, that's true. Summer is very hot, I agree. I wish she was my landlady. Ara. Oh, this is Ian. Yeah, we saw this before as well. In previous stream. Ian has very unique eyes, by the way. Look how red they are. Saw this already? I know. Quickly skimming over that. Here he has brown eyes. This art is not accurate. This is Sherlock Moriarty, by the way. Holy frick. Look at this double. This is not my Klein. Do you know which is my Klein? This is my Klein. Klein had twink death. I'm just saying. Twink death. Marek. Oh, Marek is cool. Marek has sort of like straight hair as well. Marek has a cool haircut. He looks very like disturbed and sad though. I can't wait to see like his backstory. Lovia. Oh. Isn't Lovia the woman from Lovia is the woman from the City of Silver, who is with Derek. She looks so cool. Oh my god. She's like a high sequence beyonder, I'm pretty sure. What chat is this? Lord of Mysteries Art. Yapping forum on the left here, and then look at Lord of Mysteries Art. I know, I hate threads as well, but... Cool Dart Club art. Aww. This is him like a clown, man. This makes me sad. Look at the moon. Crimson moon in the back. Why is it like... Oh, what is this, by the way? Is this sun? It's like tripping. He has his gain out. That's why I think he's gonna become a freaking magician, by the way. And the eyes on the cape, that's so cool. And then like a top hat, like a magician hat. I mean, though everyone like has a top hat these days, right? The Hanged Man. Oof, this is cool. This is like the original Darakat, so I mean hanging, right? The Shepherd in the Forsaken Land of God, exactly. Yeah, that's Lovia. Yep. Lovia is so like beautiful as well, and she's menacing. I think in the trailer of the 2026 like special episode trailer, there was also Lovia, right? Justice, Miss Justice. You guys have like pretty big delay, I feel like. I don't know why. She looks so cool. Nice sword. And the son, Derek. Look at him. Probably praying to the fool, being thankful. Viscount Kleins. Oh my god. I'm such an aristocrat. Unlikable aristocrat. He looks cool though. Lovia looked so that was Lovia in the trailer. I see, okay. I thought maybe it was like someone like Isaac's ancestor. Look at Klein here, man. Klein is a twink as well, dude. These are the symbols of the pathways. So this is the seer pathway, which is like a demonic smile, more like the top part is like the part of the thing that's behind like Klein. This is the storms. Anchor, that's so cool. Savant. Sun. I like the backgrounds too, they're so cool. Death, I'm guessing. What the fuck is this, Satan? That's so cool. I'm gonna look at them, I'm not gonna guess what they are because I have to go very, very soon. Are these like all made from, are these all like made by cuttlefish? Or is it like concept art? Love is the same pathway as the other members, yeah, true, Shepherd. They have a long delay for some reason. They have like 20-second delay. Damn, that's cool, thank you. There's more here. Quickly just gonna scan over them. Ooh, it's like a time. Are these like clocks supposed to be? Oh, this is the spectator, and the dragon makes a lot more sense now. Hunter? Reader? Oof. I don't know why, but this looks like a vagina, man. Is it supposed to look like that? All official? That's so cool, man. Planter, right? That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. This warrior, probably. Is this the apprentice? That's a door. Like a gate. That's cool. So cool. I'm not gonna open this one. Ooh, is that how she looked like? Yeah, this is like, she looked delicate and very pale. That's what I actually imagined her to look like, by the way. Right? That's so cool. Do you guys have any more art? It's a door. Apprentice is peak. I can't wait to see more of Apprentice, yeah. Hello, no cover. By the way, I haven't seen you before in the server. I think you were here, but maybe I didn't notice you before. I'm sorry. Oh my god, what is this? Is it a spoiler? I'm scared. This looks like a puppet here. Right? Oh. I guess we see like a little ability of hers here. Which is like kind of spoilery, but I guess maybe it's fine. Oh, scary. That's so scary, bro. Oh my god. What about this one? YOLO. Oh. Is this... Who is this? Is it you can open the spoiler? Anyway, she looks very cool. I don't want to tolerate too much. Yeah, send Mr. A, guys. Is this Mr. A? There's no fucking way this is Mr. A, by the way. Don't open? Oh. Fanber said it was fine, man. It's Mr. A. I thought he was like bigger and tougher, you know? He looks like really frail and... Yeah, he looks insane. Holy shit. He looks insane. Oh my god, I'm scared now. I'm so scared of the Aurora Order. What the fuck? Anyway. She looks... I want to see more of her in the next chapters, dude. Chronona said she... I didn't realize, man. I did not realize, dude. Anyway. Thank you for coming to the stream. We're gonna stream again on Friday. The Chinese text next to him. Ah, yeah. Mr. What was that? I didn't see anything. I did not see anything there. So you got actors, I guess. Anyway, I'll see you very soon. It was Essie described as having a famine face. Oh, like, oh, sunken in cheeks and stuff. True. I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you for coming. I'll see you very, very soon. Bye bye, guys.